Sacramento. Welcome to the program. It is the ZW show alongside Chris. Do not call him Christopher Watkins. I am Zakariah. Got mixed reviews before we begin the show on the ZW show. One buddy thought it was super corny.
Yeah.
Another guy thought it was kind of catchy. I think it depends on what. I mean, I was kind of raised in this in the CW era.
Sure.
So that's why I think it's cool and clever. But perhaps it's aged itself.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone like Nate. How you're younger than I am, aren't you?
Barely,
around the same age.
Yeah.
CW,
Well, we looked it up. It's still around.
but like it wasn't a major part.
Prominent,
Like I don't
yeah.
think like
The
when you
CW,
think of CW shows, like
I
what
think
comes
of
to
The
mind?
Flash.
Yes,
And
right.
that's not good for Zach because Zach's scared of electricity, I found out before the show started.
It's very true.
So that's,
A bunch of live wires back there
Yeah.
behind the
You'll
glass.
be fine.
It'll be my first anonymous
You'll be
note to HR. I am terrified by live wires. Anyways, so I'm gonna sprinkle it in there, but it's definitely not gonna be official.
We can workshop
So, well, yeah, we'll just do Zakariah and Watkins, the typical
Yeah.
ZW show. I thought we could do something with it. You know what I mean? Anyways, welcome
can
into the
find
program. You have 4 hours of this good stuff. As the big voice man said leading into the show, you can call or text the show 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube. You can see our grills and also all the social media platforms. I'm on Twitter at Zach Sports, ZAK Sports. He is at Chris
M.
Watkins. I was going to finish that.
Yes, M.
So yeah, check us out there.
Middle name.
Tweet at us, mention us, love or hate. We'll take it all. But a bunch to get to. Last night specifically, Tuesdays are always fun because usually you're reacting to
Right.
Monday Night Football, and we got a double dose of Monday Night Football. And I was confused because usually there's a double dose of Monday Night Football the first week of the season.
Right.
Everything's getting kicked off and it's Monday, they didn't have a doubleheader on the original. Now, part of it, I think, was that it was 9/11 and it was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But not only did they have a doubleheader last night, Chris, it sounds like they're going to have a few more weeks where there's a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. And fans were not happy with the whole broadcast.
Yeah, I think there's a doubleheader next Monday night as well. So, well, let me see. Let me make sure that's right. But I did hear also that there's going to be multiple games of Monday Night Football. Next Monday is Eagles, Bucks, and Rams, Bengals.
Right now, it's weeks 2 and 3, and 2 is passed. And then week 14 and another in week 18 with the time still yet to be determined.
Great. Love that.
You do?
No, I don't.
Oh,
Actually.
okay.
I'm it's just felt unnecessary yesterday. Like, the 2 box is fine. We live in the 21st century or whatever century we're in now. And, you can watch multiple games at the same time, but it's Monday Night Football just feels like it should be one premier game. Maybe I'm old school in this sense, but it just feels like it should be one marquee game, and having a second one almost just kind of dilutes both of them.
We're actually going to flip-flop here. We'll get to the actual game coming up at 10:15. And what were your thoughts as a viewer? 916-339-1140. But let's go further into it since that's kind of the way that I kicked it off. The main complaint was the split screen. And a lot of the tweets, if you look at NFL's mentions or anybody's mentions, it was like, dude, we know there's another game. If I wanted to watch that, I would go to it. Here's where I'm going to push back. I'm actually going to be on the owners or employers or whatever, the higher up
You're
side.
talking about split screen as in like they showed like when the other team was in the red zone, they would do the double box. Okay, gotcha. I thought you were talking about like because YouTube TV allows multi-view and stuff like that.
Yes, but they didn't like that they were being force-fed the other game, and people got peed off.
Okay,
I'm going to be on the side of the higher-ups, which I'm usually not. I'm usually fighting for the workers or the lower downs, if you will, since I'm a lower down myself. But here, number one, 65-inch TVs are basically free. When I was a kid, if you had a big screen TV, that meant your family
Thousands
was rich.
Of dollars, right?
Now it's like $300 for a 6. Now, when you go from 65 to 75, I haven't graduated to that yet.
Sure.
Hopefully one day my paycheck will reflect a 75-inch TV.
Send those vibes
but
out.
65-inch TVs are basically peanuts. So if they're splitting the screen, I don't care because I still have a good enough size screen to watch both games. The other part of it is I'm also a 2 TV guy. I like watching, like especially on football Sunday, but there's other times, basketball, football, baseball, whatever. Whenever sports cross over, hell, even a tennis major or a golf major. So I'm not saying everybody should have a laptop and a TV or whatever. Not everybody can afford that, but I have a hard time sympathizing with the fans that were that upset about having a split screen.
Yeah, no, I did. That just seems ridiculous to me. I mean, we're especially now in this red zone era of football that we're in where, people are kind of used. I would think that they're used to watching multiple games at once, flipping in between games here and there, simultaneously. Like, I just think it's just kind of the era that we're in now. And I didn't have any problem with it. If anything, it's preferred because, a lot of people, YouTube TV offers to have both, a split screen of both games, but a lot of people don't have YouTube TV. And, that's a way of getting both game action while watching one game, only tuning into one broadcast. Like, I think a lot of people didn't really care about Saints Panthers, but were more locked into Browns Pittsburgh. And that shouldn't mean that you don't get any fixings of the other game, especially when it's, people forget here, it's on a fellow ESPN, Disney, ABC network. They're trying to get you to be interested in the other game so that they can get viewership on both networks.
Zakariah and Watkins, Sactown Sports 1140, talking about last night's game. Did you have an issue with the way that you consumed both games last night? 916-339-1140, and we'll get into the game and just what an albatross of a contract Deshaun Watson's contract is looking like. We'll get into that in the next segment. But just moving forward, just to kind of explain why they're doing it, we're basically a bunch of test dummies where they're trying stuff out. They're trying to figure out. I did a little research on it because it is odd to me that they would have two games. I mean, on Sunday, you have a bunch of games going on all over the place, but that's football Sunday. On Monday, you would think, like Thursday, you would just want one game. But it's happening because of a deal between Disney and the NFL that allows the company to broadcast an additional 6 NFL games per season over the 17 it had previously. Starting this year, Disney is getting 3 multi-game Monday Night Football weeks along with the Week 18 doubleheader as an exclusive game aired on ESPN Plus annually.
Yes.
So I don't want to bore everybody, but basically the answer to the question is the company is actually using us to see different strategies. It wants us to make a choice here. So that's almost why they kept showing you that you could watch it on the other one. They want to see where people went.
You think? I feel like it's because I think this is just a money thing. I think that this is how the NFL negotiated their deal with ESPN, and it was their way of really, ESPN's trying to be a bigger factor in the TV market, and especially with, Fox and CBS kind of, I think they're starting to have some negotiations on how they're going to, traditionally it's been NFC is on Fox, AFC is on CBS. I think they're trying to blur those lines. And so my understanding was that this is part of the deal that they negotiated with Disney as like hey, we want to be a bigger contributor to football. We want to have more football on our networks. And this is kind of their way of doing it, is giving them more games than what they've gotten in the past.
They obviously know more than us because they get paid to know more than us, but this is definitely a different era than when we grew up and you just had either DirecTV or Comcast or Xfinity or whatever.
Right.
A dish, whatever you had like now with everybody having different services and it being part of different packages, I think they are trying to figure out because you can get for everybody listening out there, like everybody freaked out when the satellite went down, but you can get the basic channels 2, 4, 5, and 7 for free. It's like you don't have to pay for that. So when they put it on ABC, it's different than if you have to pay for ESPN and it's on ESPN. But basically, at the end of the article, it says ESPN will be able to flaunt a major bump in its viewership numbers for Monday Night Football because it'll have so many fans watching on its networks at one time between both ABC and ESPN. The numbers are being cooked a bit, but it's part of a smart strategy. So
gotcha.
It's all stuff that we don't care about.
Yeah.
I guess what I was just more surprised about from an everyday fan, which is most of the people listening, they don't care about all the minutia in there. Why did the split screen hurt you so bad?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. If anything, like you're just being served more football. Like, isn't that what everybody's clamoring for?
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, that it doesn't make any sense. Like, I have no idea why.
I was reading the comments, and basically the majority of the people were like, "We know that there's another game. If I wanted to watch that, then I would flip it over." That was the biggest complaint. But for me, I was just like, "Well, I get to see both games. I don't have to go back and flip."
Look, like I said yesterday, I'm known as a wet blanket here. That just feels like people are complaining for no reason. That's ridiculous.
Worst contract in the NFL. Did we watch it last night? We'll get into that. Zakariah and Watkins, Sactown Sports, 1140.
watch? Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered. Touchdown! San Francisco!
It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Hold up, you're using Swiffer Power Mop? What would Mom say?
Oh, she'd be like, a mopping bucket is the only way to deep clean your floors. And I'd be like, Mom, this is the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one that gets you a mop and bucket clean in half the time.
She'd never believe you.
I'd say, look, the solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket. And the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get into grout lines. That's why you're the smart one.
Really?
What? Mom said it.
The new Swiffer Power Mop. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Model year end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
You cannot keep running away from your radio airwaves. Welcome back, Sacramento. It is Zakariah and Watkins here on Sactown Sports 1140. Call or text the program once you join us. We'd like participation. 916-339-1140. People are already up in the Sactown Sports chat. We will reference that as the show goes along. And, of course, Twitter, Instagram, just a regular website, all sorts of stuff. Just search Sactown Sports or Sactown 1140. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, 10:30, Chris, we'll be looking at who had the worst week 2. Despite there being a lot of exciting football in week 2, there were some dismal performances. Yeah. So we will give what's the opposite of a gold medal? You can't say bronze medal because that's still a medal.
A demerit, I guess.
Yeah, like tinfoil medal.
Sure.
For the worst, So we'll figure out who had the worst week.
You ever watch The Office?
Yeah.
When they have the Office
those were
games
still good, though.
I mean, they made like a medal out of like a yogurt cap, something
but
like
I'm trying to think
that.
of like the award for the worst. You got something?
A toilet bowl trophy.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, we'll come up with the award and hand it out.
I'll cook something up back here.
Because I have 6 nominees. And a lot of them are good quarterbacks, but really bad week 2 performances. Speaking of one of the guys nominated, Deshaun Watson. Chris, what the hell was that? And if we can just get this was literally his first pass attempt.
Chubb splits out to the top of the screen. Quick throw and picked off. The deflection and intercepted by Highsmith. Touchdown. What a start.
Jeez Louise, Chris. What a start, huh?
You want to talk about, the TV broadcast being split up. That's how I learned that the Pittsburgh game had started.
They cut into it?
Yeah, I was watching the Saints Panthers, and up on the top left of the screen, they had like the scoreboard of the other game, and it said 7-0, and I was like,
huh?
I thought this game started at, 5:05 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I look at my own, I'm like, okay, I guess it did. And then I switch over immediately and I see the return and I'm like, man, after Deshaun Watson, the Browns, I should say, played well enough in week 1 to get by against the Bengals' F performance that they had in week 1. But I was like, what a way to get this thing started for Deshaun Watson. This was meant to be, I don't want to call it a re-breakout season, but he was, after struggling last season in his handful of games, this was meant to be the year where it's like, okay, Deshaun Watson had a full off season. He put all that stuff, we'll call it, all that stuff behind him. And this is about him moving on to, this is going to be a new era of Deshaun Watson, Cleveland Brown. And let's see how far this team can go. And he looks terrible. He looks like a completely different quarterback from the guy that we saw in Houston. And it seems to me the only thing that really changed was all the stuff he went through in the season and the year and a half since we last saw him. It seems like that really had an effect on his on the field performance.
It's staggering, Chris. And I'm with you. They were kind of the preseason darlings, if you will. And a lot of it was last year attributed to the fact, I mean, he was horrible last year.
Terrible.
So if you just watched last year, you wouldn't be that surprised.
Right.
But this was supposed to be, okay, he was dealing with all that stuff.
Yeah.
He couldn't be around the arena.
Right.
So he couldn't practice and so throw away last year. Now he's had a whole full off season. He's a quote unquote normal player. Right. He served his suspension. He's coming in. He was an MVP. He didn't win the MVP, but he was up there. He got votes.
Yes.
In one of his years with the Texans. So you figured he'd come in and he'd be a lot closer to what you saw in Houston than what he's bad, Chris.
Yes.
He's like 30 since he started the games last year.
Yeah.
He's like the 37th by whatever metrics you want to look at, and different sites have different metrics. But the only quarterback that's been worse than him since he started games last year is Zach Wilson.
That's not
37. How many teams are in the league?
32.
Okay, so that means he's not even the best backup.
Mike White was better than him.
And that's $230 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, that's why that contract was so just obscene even when they gave it to him initially. It was just
100%.
I mean, the Browns were the only team that I think would have traded for him. I mean, Deshaun Watson was on the block for a while and nobody really had much movement on him. And then B, to pay him the guaranteed money they did, and just in general, the contract that they gave him, which was all guaranteed. It was ludicrous. It didn't make any sense at the time, especially coming off of what he was coming off of. The Browns, I guess, took a big swing and took a big risk in thinking that, he'll return to that MVP form. And it doesn't look like he's anywhere near that guy. And maybe, it's strange because, if you're trying to figure out what's different, like, I guess he doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins anymore like he did in Houston, but it doesn't seem like
Cooper
it's
no slouch.
It doesn't seem like that's really the problem. It's just this guy, for whatever reason, he's not seeing the field the same way that he used to.
Well, remember, he not only missed the games for the suspension, Chris, but he missed the games because he was sitting out for the contract.
Yeah.
So a total of 28 games of rust was built up. But when I watch it, I sit there and I go, I mean, listen to these names that have had a better QBR than him or whatever metric. Jacoby Brissett.
Okay.
Marcus Mariota.
Definitely not.
Carson Wentz. A lot of these guys are unemployed, by the way. Baker Mayfield, who's bouncing back.
Yeah.
But Taylor, I never known how to
Heineke?
say his name because it looks like Heineken.
Yes, Heineke.
And Joe Flacco, who we know has been washed up probably since he won the Super Bowl.
I think he was even washed up when he won the Super Bowl.
To make matters worse last night, and I will beat this stat into the ground because it continues to surprise me that 90% of the teams that start 0-2 don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was a winnable game. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're at 1-1 because they narrowly beat Cincinnati. But you look at that game, they could easily be 2-0 despite his horrendous performance. And here is not only did he give up a pick six, he gave up, is there a better term than fumble six? But here he goes late in the game.
You just would not allow someone to just run off the ball like that and turn around and catch the football.
180. Neal showing blitz. Here he comes. Pressure ball out. Picked up. Touchdown Steelers.
So Watson scored one touchdown through the air and gave Pittsburgh 2 via turnover.
Yeah.
Maybe a drop six.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Like a
Nice
drop
work.
Yeah.
Thinking on your feet. I'm going to trademark that and steal it from you and give you no credit.
Yeah, that's my life.
10%.
Okay.
10%.
Great.
I like that. A pick six and a drop six.
Yeah, I mean, and his performances, I mean, they've been terrible. And this is why, I mean, we haven't really talked about it. I'm sure we're going to talk about it a ton, but that's what makes the Nick Chubb injury so devastating for this team is, Deshaun Watson hasn't been playing well really at all. And meanwhile, Nick Chubb has been incredible. I mean, he's one of, if not the best running back in the NFL, like at actually running the football. Again, there's an argument with Christian McCaffrey and the versatility he brings, but just as a pure runner, it feels like Nick Chubb is at the top of the NFL. And, to not have that in your offense now, it's going to be really big on Deshaun. Like, it's the weight of this team is now on Deshaun Watson's shoulders, and they're going to go as far as his play is going to take them. And right now, it doesn't look like in maybe the toughest division in football, I wouldn't bet on the Browns having success this season after that injury.
And not to pour salt on the wound, but it will cost the franchise more than $100 million in dead salary cap in each of the next 3 seasons. And then it drops down to still in excess of $64 million in 26. So there's not a way to get out of this thing unless they can figure out a trade. Even with the trade, I think it'll be one of those situations where kind of like when the Mets dumped Scherzer and Verlander, they're going to be picking up a portion of the contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to feel bad for him, though, because this is the bed you made and you got to lie in it.
But it shows you how cursed / pathetic the Cleveland franchise is, that they had to do what no other team would do in order to get him. Because he didn't want to choose Cleveland. Right. So they had to make it so crazy that he ended up taking it. All right. Well, will he win the toilet bowl prize or whatever medal we're going to give to the worst performance from week 2? I got 6 nominees. We will go through them. What say you? Thank God Purdy, even though he didn't have a bad game, he's not in the running as he didn't turn the ball over, and the Niners get the win. 916-339-1140, all that good stuff. Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports.
Will Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers brass go all the way this season? Could the Niners win their first Super Bowl since 1995? Join us throughout the season to hear all the games and all the analysis on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Plumbing, electrical, heating and air, everything that makes your home your home. With Bonnie, you sure got that covered. And right now, get your air conditioner tuned up for just $79. Originally $129. Bonnie.com.
Bonnie.
Attention all tool shoppers. Get ready for the biggest DeWalt sale event of the year at Fasteners Inc. Sacramento this Saturday, September 23rd. We're bringing you the best deals on DeWalt products you've ever seen for one day only, including impact drivers for $59, combo kits for as low as $179, and up to $2,000 off your order with instant cashback rewards. Again, that's this Saturday only, September 23rd. Come on down and get better tools for better prices at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet. Find us at 6701 Power Inn Road and learn more at fastenersinc.net.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life and your choices with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age, but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
It's the model year-end sales event at Acura of Stockton. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Lease a new Acura RDX or MDX. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton or AcuraofStockton.com. where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Nate Littlefield. These are your Sactown Sports headlines. Well, we had some Monday Night Football yesterday. Actually, we had a doubleheader. The Saints took down the Panthers by a score of 20-17. Pretty boring game, in my opinion. And this was all despite Derek Carr having a mediocre outing, no TDs, and an interception for Derek. And the Steelers bounced back after an embarrassing loss to the 49ers last week. The Steelers defense dominated the Browns. The D had 2 touchdowns, a fumble recovery or a drop 6 by TJ Watt, and a pick 6 on the first play of the game by Alex Highsmith. They ended up winning by a score of 26-22. Those are the headlines. Now we get back to the midday show with Zakariah and Watkins.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Welcome back, Sacramento. It is Zakariah and Watkins here on Sactown Sports. Call or text the show, 916-339-1140. Check us out on YouTube. Sactown Sports coming up at 10:45. This one I did get a lot of love on. People love the fifth, F-I-F, fun in the 40s. That's where we go around the wacky world of sports. Yeah, we're going to find out how Marshawn Lynch, later in the show, I think we're going to do you remember where you were for like big time catastrophic injuries? Mm-hmm. I remember exactly where I was because am I allowed to say who I hate and love in sports? Can I just air it out is that something you need to keep? I've been told professionally, don't like alienate anybody, but we're in Sacramento. Does anybody like the Patriots out here?
No, you're good.
Okay, I hate the Patriots. Loathe the Patriots. So I remember where I was when they ridiculously decided to throw the ball instead of hand it to Marshawn Lynch against Tom Brady.
Bowl, right.
Tom Brady also won a Super Bowl when Kyle Shanahan was up 28-3. That's another thing that chaps my hide. Tom Brady, most overrated quarterback ever. But that I don't want to get on that rant. But anyways, we'll get to that.
Do that.
And a whole bunch of wacky world of sports. But we will do in this segment.
That's a wild thing to say.
I hate
That's
the guy,
wild.
I hate the team. I hate the city.
That's all fine. That's all fine and
later.
dandy, but you can't. You can say never mind.
Most of his Super Bowls are off of the foot of Vinatieri.
That's fine.
Belichick should get all those,
but he still got.
It's jealousy. It's envy, Chris.
That's fine. I hate
my sports therapist.
I'm telling you right now. This is. I'm gonna put you on game. I hate Steph Curry. I can't stand the guy. He's I think the most cringe-worthy player I think I've ever seen, especially on the floor. But man, you got to respect what he does on the floor. I
do respect Tom Brady.
Bro, you got his water bottle on your desk.
Hey, allegedly.
My bad.
I just think you got it. I again don't like Aaron Rodgers either.
Chris. I do respect him.
Overrated, most overrated.
I just think again,
we're not going to go there.
28-3, the Tuck Rule game, Spygate, Deflategate. How many gates? How many cheating things does he have? He's just overrated, man. Dan Marino was a better quarterback. No titles. Tom Brady had Belichick in that defense. All right, we won't go into that, okay. Even though we just did.
It's okay.
Well, we'll find out how Marshawn
that goes deeper.
How Marshawn dealt with that Super Bowl loss. But right now, who had the worst Week 2 quarterback performance in the NFL? And I will give you the nominees.
Okay.
And you can choose amongst these.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will go from, I'll just mix it up.
Okay.
So Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
He had expected points added per game, 1.2, whatever. He did not have a great day. And we had some audio of one of the DBs. Do you want to play it? I thought you said it wasn't quality enough, right? Yeah, basically he's saying he knew what was coming, which is never a good sign.
Hearing a lot of that these days.
We got a lot into Deshaun Watson. Trevor Lawrence had an awful game. And who else do we have? We have Justin Fields. I said him. Zach Wilson, of course. Seems like he's going to be up there every week. And then we have Jimmy Grapes. Started off great, up 7-0 in Buffalo. Didn't end well. And then Joe Burrow. You wouldn't expect to see him on the list, but he had an awful day too. Of those quarterbacks, who do you got?
I think the two worst performances, and maybe it's because they're the two worst quarterbacks of the bunch, but I think what Justin Fields did and just the collection of Justin Fields' career so far has really been highlighted this past week. It's looking really bad in Chicago. And the other one I have that really stuck out was Zach Wilson as well. I feel like those were the two guys that I watched over the weekend that I just felt like these guys should not be NFL quarterback. At least definitely not playing right now in the NFL. It just doesn't feel like those guys are ready. Like,
damn.
I'm pointing out Justin Fields.
I'm kind of with
first.
you, though.
Justin Fields on Sunday, 211 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 6 sacks. A lot of those are because Fields holds the ball for so long.
Yep.
But like
Why
I said,
isn't he running more?
The
Chris?
numbers.
Have you seen the viral play where he's in the pocket for a while, or like behind the pocket, and then he just runs straight into the mesh of people in front of him, like he doesn't even try to make? I think it's just a confidence thing. I think the guy's been ruined.
His size,
this is what the Bears do.
Yeah, I mean they don't have many weapons. I'm not a big DJ Moore fan, but I was mentioning the Justin Fields stats that have kind of gone viral this past week. 27 games so far in Justin Fields' career. He's 5-22 in those games. He's been sacked 101 times in 27 games. His completion percentage is under 60. He's thrown 26 touchdowns, 24 picks. Get this. Again, 27 games he's played in. He's fumbled the ball. You know, everyone take a guess. Zach, how many times do you think Justin Fields has fumbled the ball in 27 career games?
Oh, man.
Man, you're making me want to guess higher.
I'm going to say 1 per game. I'm just going to go easy 27.
I'm going to go is this now this is a not
Is
that it
this
matters,
lost
but is it fumble loss
Yeah.
or just fumbles?
I have the fumbles lost. This is just fumbles.
Just
this is
fumbles?
times he's
Oh,
put the ball on the deck.
yeah.
You said 26 games?
27 games.
I'm
now.
going 27.
I'll say 20.
Those are really high numbers.
I know. But you're leading us to go high.
He's fumbled the ball 31 times. In
Whoa.
27 games, he has put the ball on the deck 31
How many
times.
lost?
8 lost. But
Yeah.
still, I mean,
Wow.
which is, I mean,
That's an incredible
pretty impressive. Yeah,
getting
that
the ball
ratio.
back
Yeah,
rate.
exactly,
Yeah.
isn't it? But the point
Wow.
still stands.
No,
exactly.
for
Yeah,
sure.
31 times put the ball on the ground in 27 career games. He's averaged 156 yards per game in his career so far. And after rushing for 1,000 yards last season, Justin Fields has only carried the ball 13 times, to your point, in 2 games so far.
I think
and they're
there's
playing the Chiefs this week.
I think there's a lot of nominees here.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a bad choice amongst the group.
They're all bad.
The Jimmy G, that's not the one that I'm going to select for
Yeah.
whatever award that we're going to try to figure out to give to the worst quarterback. But Jimmy G's picks were safe, like dump down picks. Now, one was deflected. The other one was just not. And those are the type of things where I'm sure Niners fans are going, that's why we moved on. But I'm not going to pick him as the worst. I'm going to go with the guy that we talked about in the last segment. And maybe it's the guaranteed money. And it just sticks
It's just
out.
all of it.
But
yeah.
That if you watched that game last night, Chris, that's
It
a
was
winnable
so winnable.
game.
It
And
was
like
so winnable.
for me, in games where you just lose, it's easy for me to just, coaches talk about it all the time, watch the film and then move on from the week. I can move on from games where you just lose. It's a little bit more disheartening because you feel like maybe you're not good enough.
Sure.
But the games that you could easily win, he gave them 2 touchdowns.
Yes, that's the thing. I was just about to say that. He gave them 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It was 26-22. I mean, the Pittsburgh defense scored more than their offense did. Like, he
They had
literally
like
handed them the game.
238 total yards of offense. If you're any defender on the Browns team, see, I always say this, I would be the worst professional athlete. Because if I'm a defender, any position on the defense, and I do that good of a job against the Steelers offense, and you lose the game for me, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not talking to you.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not the
very
guy that's
fair.
going to pat you on the back.
Yeah, be like,
if you have
hey.
a bad show, Chris, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's
Hey,
all
man,
good.
it's good.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to talk to you. Now, hopefully you come back tomorrow
Yes,
and we're good.
exactly.
But that's how I would want you to treat me if I
For
had
sure.
a bad show too.
For sure.
So anyways, that's my guy. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence, you can kind of write that off.
Yeah.
Chris Jones was back. But in terms of the scariest, like the one that I think cannot come back from the bad performance, I'm going to go Burrow. Because they're saying, is there any confirmation on how many weeks he's going to be out?
Yeah.
Nate, have you seen anything confirmed about Burrow?
I have not. No.
Because the last I saw, he's supposed to be out for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And he just didn't look right. He didn't look right in week 1, and people kind of wrote that off because of the bad conditions. But when you have a calf and you're a quarterback that's known for having a great arm, and you can't really step into your throws like that. So to me, that's the scariest one out of the group in terms of what I'm worried about not being able to. Well, you could put Zach Wilson on there because you and I agree. You just said he doesn't think he should be a professional quarterback.
So.
But all are good nominees. And like I said before, you're not going to put Purdy, even though Purdy didn't have a great game. And to me, that's like the bright side of Purdy not having a great game is that you still won the game and he didn't lose it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he played well enough to win. And I wouldn't say Purdy played bad. He he missed some throws, which, that's going to happen on occasion. And you definitely would rather see him hit those throws. But to your point, like, he didn't turn the ball over. And to me, that's the most important thing. And he still, he still rushed for a touchdown. He still, had the offense moving at points in that game. So I don't think it would have been fair to put him in especially in this category of guys that we're talking about. But the Joe Burrow thing is definitely concerning for sure. I mean, we don't know how long he's going to be out, but the fact that this is happening in the beginning of the season is just, it's not ideal. I mean, this is, especially with a calf injury, unless he is going to miss an extended period of time, this is just going to be something that lingers throughout the entire season. It's not going to get better anytime soon. And so, especially for a Bengals team that relies so much on passing the ball and having explosive plays from all of their receivers, it's just not a good sign if you're Cincinnati, especially the fact that, now they're in an 0-2 hole.
And when you talk about injuries, oftentimes you think about like a torn ACL, right? But I have calf strain up there with hammy.
Yeah. For sure.
Rolled ankle, not like a broken ankle, but a rolled ankle. One of those ones where you can get to the point where you can play on it.
Yes.
But number one, you're never really 100% because you don't want to give it your all on it. And also one that can always be re-aggravated. Because if you saw Burrow walk to midfield where all the guys exchange jerseys and shake hands, good game, all that good stuff, he was limping severely. And now you can hide that during the game, adrenaline or whatever, but the next day pops up. I'd be interested to see what the update is on the news in terms of his availability for the weeks moving forward. But I wouldn't be surprised for them to shut him down. If you shut him down, then I could easily see this being a lost season for the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there in front of them. And I mean, Joe Burrow's been dealing with this. I mean, we saw him take that non-contact where he limped off of practice. That was about a month before the season started. And it seems like it's still, I mean, even at that time, he had a calf sleeve on. And so it's like, how long, we don't even know how long he's been dealing with this. It's clearly been before even training camp started. So I think they should definitely let him sit a couple
for weeks. Sure. One of those situations where you can't let the player determine whether or not they play, because I think they would have been better off sitting him for a couple of more weeks. All right, coming up next, fifth. I plead the fifth. That is fun in the 40s. A way that you should not deal, but many people do, with a heartbreaking loss. And also, why can't cornerbacks catch the ball? We'll get into that and a lot more in the fun in the 40s. You're listening to Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Who do they decide on for the Super Bowl?
What do you mean, halftime act?
Yeah. I know that Taylor Swift.
Yeah, turned him down, right?
At what point do people turn on Taylor Swift to be like, why don't you lower your prices? And I understand the whole Ticketmaster thing, but what about the merch? Like, legit, do you have to make $1 billion? Could you make 500 million? Could you?
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy Heating and Air. It's the end of summer blowout on all their systems. Right now, $2,500 off full systems, as low as $34 a week. And now American Energy Heating and Air offering a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high efficiency units. Look, the uncomfortable becomes comfortable with American Energy Heating and Air. They've been around since 1981, making the greater Sacramento area proud with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And as always, their goal is to exceed your expectations, exceed them of the heating and air industry, valuing the customer experience and making your home comfortable. It's that simple. Go to American Energy Heating and Air and get yourself a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high efficiency units.
Call 916-520-9998 now.
I love being a bartender. I love waiting tables. But at the end of my shift, my feet were killing me. And so I had to pretend like I was having a good time. And really, I couldn't wait to sit down. But it wasn't just my feet. It was also my knees were achy. A lot of neck pain, too. I was in so much pain. I kind of lost hope, really. And then I saw the Good Feet store, and that's when everything changed.
For over 20 years, we've helped people like Kristen enjoy their work again without their feet getting in the way.
It was pretty shocking to realize that I'd been in so much pain and suddenly I'm completely pain-free. Now that I have the Good Feet arch supports, I don't have to pretend to be happy. I'm genuinely happy. So, cheers. My name is Kristen, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville.
Hey guys, do you know what makes Revive Men's Health Sacramento different? You. Every Revive treatment and medication is personalized just for you. Revive has the experts that guys go to when their current treatment isn't working. They have a complicated medical condition, or they're just not happy with their daily performance. Since 2011, they've helped thousands of local men suffering with the symptoms of low T and ED. Their goal is simple, to get to the bottom of your issues and fix them. Your best performance requires more than generic ED medications or a low-dose testosterone booster at a low-ball price like you find online. Revive medications are custom compounded, affordable, and guaranteed to resolve your issues. Stop dealing with the symptoms of low T or ED. Book your free T-check and exam and save $199 today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit us at revivemenshealth.com.
Oh, God, he's back.
Who's back?
The clown.
The naked one?
Yes, Giggles. He just drove on the lot in a new Kia.
Does he want to trade it in?
No, he wants to show it off.
Isn't he showing off enough? Oh, here he comes.
See what Elk Grove Kia did for me? That's service. That's why they got my business, not you.
I think we've already seen too much of your business. Thank you.
Elk Grove Kia. Great service for everyone.
Elk Grove Kia has never made it easier for you to show it off. Don't worry about credit. No credit, bad credit, charge-offs, repos. Don't worry. Our team has over 100 years of experience. Others say no. Elk Grove Kia says yes. Get your next Kia today at Elk Grove Kia in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or elkgrovekia.com and show it off today.
Elk Grove Kia.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Hey, waiting for the beat to drop. Guess I'll just go. Welcome back, Sacramento. It is Zakariah and Watkins here on Sactown Sports. 11:40 coming up, top of the hour. Another Chris.
Yes.
Don't get jelly.
It's fine.
All right.
This is a good one.
Bringing on another Chris. Chris Biderman, senior sports reporter for the Sacramento Bee, Candlestick Chronicles podcast. We'll talk some 49ers with him. It's my favorite analogy. I probably bring it up once a show, but I love the movie and I love the analogy. Rosie Perez, who is not hard on the eyes to boot. Love the accent. Great story. Woody Harrelson had a hard time getting through their love scenes in that movie because he was so attracted to her. Rosie tells a great story recapping it. She was totally fine with it, but he was super attracted to her, and it made the love scenes a little bit awkward. But anyways, in that movie, she says, sometimes when you win, you really lose. Sometimes when you lose, you really win. The Niners got a win despite kind of having a losing game, if you will. I mean, I don't want to call it that, but basically they won ugly, which sometimes can be a really good thing, a reflection on your team.
Sure.
When you can win pretty as they did in Pittsburgh or win ugly as they did in LA. So we'll talk to Chris at the top of the hour. But right now, got to get an intro for Fun in the 40s. I don't know what we can cut up to use, but we do it every hour at the end of the hour. We just kind of jump around the wild world of sports, Chris. And in this instance, we are going to hear from, humble brag. We should get, what's his name? The rapper, Kendrick Lamar, Be Humble. Anytime you bring up. But anyways, when I was at Cal, Aaron Rodgers was there.
Sure.
Marshawn Lynch was there.
Sure.
Deshaun Jackson was there. Javid Best was there.
Yeah.
It was the last time Cal was good at football. And I had a class with Marshawn Lynch.
Nice.
And funny story. He was opening up his store in downtown Oakland, and they called it Marshsawn
Already a
Lynch
funny
Day.
story that he went to class.
Well, here's the thing. He went to the first class, slept through the whole thing, didn't see him the whole semester. He went to the last class for the final, slept through the whole thing. He had like a tutor or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know if I should be saying that.
I think statute of limitations. I'm pretty sure you're
Thank you. But here's the crazy part. Saw him at Marshsawn Lynch Day because I was working at another station. I go, Marshsawn, you probably don't remember. I'm Zakariah. He's like, oh yeah, Sociology 102.
Really?
I was like, what? He remembered me and the class. And it was Sociology 102. I checked my transcript. I didn't even remember the class.
How does that make any sense?
I have no idea.
Maybe this is like one of those, like this is
my guess is
a
that like
terrible
you researched
example.
it or something.
Yeah, that's exact. Like maybe this
There's
is
no
how
way that was off
like
top.
immigration will ask couples like, hey, like make sure you guys have your story straight. Maybe it's like one of those where it's like Marshsawn, instead of actually learning sociology, we're going to learn people in your class.
Yeah.
So that when the NCAA comes around and they say,
I see where you're going.
Okay, yeah, you're in sociology.
Yeah.
Can you name 3 people in your sociology 102 class? And that's actually what he studied instead of actual school.
It was amazing. And then I asked him for an interview, and he promptly told me I will be doing no media all off season. And then we kept it moving.
Yeah,
but
that's fine for Marshsawn.
Anyways, we were talking about major injuries, which we'll get to later in the show. And do you remember where you were?
Yes.
One of the ones that you brought up sticks out. Oh, that's a terrible use of the English language. I was going to say sticks out like a sore thumb. Not the verbiage that I should have used there. But I do remember where I was in the Super Bowl when they threw the ball when they should have been running the ball against the Patriots.
Right.
The famous interception that ended that game. Here's Marshsawn talking to Kevin Hart about how he dealt with that loss.
Oh, man.
So I go to the locker room, you feel me? I go in there, go shower up, grab my bottle of Hennessy. So my family already know what type of time I'm on.
Yep.
So we dip in the whip, crack my heme open, slide it.
Okay, just stop for a second.
So Kevin Hart, I want to give some context.
Okay.
He stops him right after and goes through. It was too long to leave in.
Gotcha.
But he breaks down exactly what he says. For a lot of people.
The
that
ebonics of what he says. Yes.
Yeah.
Ebonics to English.
Can we still use the E word?
He translates it.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
by the way,
that's
don't
what he
say
said.
that you cracked the bottle and then got into the whip, as he's
That's
recently
a great
gotten a
point.
DUI.
That's a fantastic
Anyways,
point.
Go ahead.
No, that's it. He just broke it down. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, well, the portion that I had, they went through like 24 cases, and I think there's 12 bottles.
You said 24 cases of Hennessy?
Yeah, and there's 12 like fifths bottles in a case. And that's how he dealt with the Super Bowl loss. Now, hopefully there was a lot of people that partook in those 24 cases.
24 cases,
24
as in not 24 bottles.
No, 24 times 12, not a math major, but that's a lot. And we're not talking about the small bottles. We're talking about
feels
fifths.
unhealthy.
Yes,
yeah. Maybe that's what he went through in the entire offseason.
Hey, who am I?
He says right when the play happened too. He walks by Pete Carroll and just laughs in his face about it, and then he goes over and he's like, "Oh, that's Lenny Kravitz over there," and he's all happy and he's high-fiving him, saying what's up, and Lenny's like, hey Marsh, yeah, dude, what's up? Being like, you just lost the Super Bowl right in front of me, and Marshsawn's just stoked to see him, and I guess Lenny was super cool to him. So
that's incredible.
That's Marshsawn, though.
Exactly.
He's Mr. I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's a lot of Hennessy.
That's a whole lot of Hennessy. I would not recommend that. That's how you deal with trauma. But hey, man, whatever gets you through that day, I guess.
Speaking of conspiracy theories, have you heard it that they wanted Russell Wilson, because Marshsawn Lynch would have got the Super Bowl MVP.
Sure, yeah.
And he's not necessarily your most
media friendly
representative of winning that award. I can't even picture him saying, I'm going to Disneyland, although I'd love to see it.
He would say, I'm going to Oakland or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's a great, he's always, that's the funny part about him is he wants to do media the least.
Yes.
But he's the most entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I'm just here so I won't get fined, even though he was saying nothing.
Right.
Kind of like the Allen Iverson we're talking about practice.
Right.
But he's great. He's entertaining. He's got you ever heard stories about like Bill Belichick? They say he's like one of the funniest dudes in the world, and you never see it.
Yeah.
That's Marshsawn. He's got a ton of personality. He just doesn't want to show it to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's the funny. I mean, it's very clear that it's not necessarily he doesn't like being in front of camera. He's done like Bear Grylls show, Naked and Afraid and stuff like that. Like he's not afraid of being in front of camera. I think it's just in the media especially in, the football media context where he just felt like, I think, people were out to get him and people were out there to try and spin narratives. And especially, you were pointing at that conspiracy theory. I think a lot of it was that he felt like people were trying to prop up the wrong people in that organization. And there was a clear movement to kind of make Russell Wilson into this godly figure where Marshsawn and I think the Legion of Boom defense also knew, hey man, that's like, it's mainly us doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but this guy's getting all the credit. So I think he just had an issue with how media would kind of spin narratives and make it seem like, give Russ and Pete Carroll a ton of credit when really it was those guys.
And I've gotten into the weeds of this thing, not only because I have an affinity for Marshawn Lynch, go Bears, but also because of my hatred for Tom Brady. Not supposed to use hatred, my immense dislike. But the analytics actually said that was a great play call. But it was one of those things, and I don't mean to rile up Niners fans at all, but it reminds me a lot of the Frank Gore against the Ravens. When Frank Gore had got them all the way down the field, they ran him once and then threw 3 fades to Crabtree. It reminded me a lot of that. I don't know why. It's almost like coaches outsmart themselves, despite what the analytics say or what it says to call on your play sheet. If a guy gets you down there, like Lynch got the Seahawks down there and like Gore got the Niners down there, I'd rather die on that hill than die on throwing a pick in the end zone, obviously, or throwing fades that are not going to get caught, in the end zone. I mean, to me, that's more justifiable and defendable when you're meeting the press after the game than it is doing something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more just I think it is just the fact that they can fall back on, well, the analytics said that we should do that, and so that's the smart play, and that's kind of the end. It's tough to rebuttal that, and so I definitely feel like you should run in those situations, but when you're in those high leverage situations and it's a ton of pressure, you just kind of are trying to not screw it up. So I don't, I think it's really tough to be an NFL coach, especially in those moments. And that's why, those who are great, and those who fail are the ones that we end up talking about in these kind of situations. But I mean, especially hindsight being 2020, they absolutely should have ran the ball.
Also, I'm a big woulda, coulda, shoulda, and there's a lot of luck that's involved that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yes.
I mean, so many things that can change the perception of a person's career.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. And lastly here, and file this under example number 995 billion. I don't understand why defenders cannot catch the ball.
Yeah.
You're talented. It doesn't mean, like, even though you don't play offense, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to catch the ball. But a big play in that Jets-Cowboys game was when Sauce, by the way, one of my favorite names in sports, dropped a surefire in your hands interception after the game. Parsons and CeeDee Lamb were doing one of those jersey exchanges or whatever, and they caught him on one of them was mic'd up, and here was the exchange after the game.
Hey, you need to catch some. You gotta learn how to catch, bro. You gotta learn how to catch, man. Good game. I was on the jug the day before yesterday, bro. They helped me.
Okay, that part at the end, maybe somebody can Google it or help me out. I thought I was hip, but he says, I was on that jug yesterday. That didn't help me out.
We need Kevin Hart to translate for us.
Y'all don't know what
Marshsawn.
Is jug just drinking?
No, jugs machine. You never heard of the jugs machine?
Okay, yeah.
Like the thing that shoots out the ball.
Oh, and it didn't help him?
That's what he's saying. He's saying he was on the jugs machine the whole day, like he was practicing catches the entire day.
I never heard that term.
You never heard jugs machine? Oh, yeah. No.
So how come more people don't use? Oh, it's the machine, not the catch.
Yes, it's the
people
machine.
Don't call a catch a jug.
No. The machine that fires off footballs, just like if you're trying to practice kickoffs.
Got
or
it. Is that
whatever,
the
like
same
that,
term
receivers?
when you're when you're hitting, like in a batting cage? Is that the jug machine that throws the baseballs to?
I don't think so. I think it's
Just
specifically the one because they have like the two circular things and they kind of spin off and fire. I think it's specifically
Yes.
It's specifically for football.
Well, you learn something new
every day's
day,
a school
Chris,
day.
and I'm guessing that 95% of the people listening didn't know that.
Maybe not,
because I consider myself to be a professional sports broadcaster, but I had no clue about that. All right, coming up next at the top of the hour, we will speak with Chris Biderman. You read him in the Sacramento Bee. Also, he's got the podcast, the Candlestick Chronicles, even though it's not called. Are you one of those guys that calls it by its old name? I always called the Lakers
no, it's
Stadium
Levi.
Staples.
I mean, it's a different building, so I'll call it.
We'll talk to him about week 2 and look forward. Not a huge turnaround for Thursday Night Football for the Niners as they take on the Giants for the Niners' first home game. We'll talk about that and much more. You're listening to the ZW Show. Damn it, I'm going to sprinkle it in there a little bit. Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports.
Can Mike Brown build on last season's Coach of the Year award? Can the Kings exceed 48 wins?
We will be better prepared to make the run that we expect to run come next playoff.
Tune into every Kings game this season on Sactown Sports and Sactown.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading ordinary brand. So you can get back to your night. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma?
Yep, switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered FlexSteel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kent Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kent Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, A's catcher Shea Langoliers has had a pretty remarkable year. He's been behind the plate as the A's primary catcher for a team that has employed 39 pitchers. And offensively, as he approaches 20 home runs, he is closing in on some of the best figures for a catcher in A's history. Ramon Hernandez had 21 homers back in 2003. The gold standard Terry Steinbach, 35 in 96. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Nate Littlefield. These are your Sactown Sports headlines. Well, we had Monday Night Football yesterday, and in fact, it was a doubleheader. The Saints took down the Panthers by a score of 20-17. Despite Derek Carr having a mediocre outing, no touchdowns and an interception for Carr. And the Steelers bounced back after an embarrassing loss to the 49ers last week. The defense dominated the Browns. The D had 2 touchdowns, a fumble recovery taken back by TJ Watt, and a pick 6 on the first play of the game by Alex Highsmith. Steelers ended up winning by a score of 26-22. Those are the headlines. Now we get to the second hour of this midday show with Zakariah and Watkins.
Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Give me 2 seconds is how we start your 11 o'clock hour. Welcome back in, Sacramento. Some sultry sounds here to get your 11 o'clock hour started. It is the ZW show, Zakariah and Watkins. And you can always join the program. Your thoughts on last night. I'm interested to hear what people thought about the broadcast. A lot of complaints. Also, Adam Schefter got some stuff. I want to get into that. People need to relax, man. This instant reaction to everything is starting to wear on me. He miswrote his tweet. It wasn't like something that he purposely did. Anyways, we'll get into that and a lot more coming up at 11:15. Also, which 0-2 teams should be most in panic mode and which 2-0 teams shouldn't feel comfortable. Speaking of 2-0 teams, the Niners are 2-0, and a man that covers them very well is the one, the only, Chris Biderman. Follow him on Twitter at that name. And he has the Candlestick Chronicles podcast talking Niners for Blue WJ Repods. Is that correct, Chris? How are you? Good morning.
It's Blue Wire Pods, but I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me, as always.
Oh,
yes, thank you, Chris.
I got a little thing on my screen so the I looked like a J. My bad. Blue Wire Pods. There we go.
No problem.
Chris, I walked away from that game. I don't think it was an overly impressive game. I do think that now people know that the Rams with a healthy Stafford and obviously with McVay are better than what we thought they were going to be. But I walked away from that game going, great teams win when they're not at their best. And Purdy kind of looked like Garoppolo overthrowing, a guy. I was making the joke about Samuel versus Sanders in the end zone, kind of thinking back to the Super Bowl. But they won kind of ugly, and that's what good teams do.
Yeah, you look at it, it felt like kind of a B- performance, I think, from the team overall, and they still put up 30 points and nearly won by 10, if not for that late meaningless field goal that Sean McVay decided to kick as time expired. So, look, wins in the NFL, you take them any way you can get them, especially within the division. And honestly, I thought Sean McVay had a great scheme, particularly for the 49ers defense that does play a lot of zone, that likes to keep the ball in front of them. And Matt Stafford has gotten off to a really nice start to the season. And, it took some adjusting, but the 49ers allowed 17 points on 3 possessions in the first half. And then I think they allowed 6 points on 7 possessions in the second. And they basically doubled up how often they blitz. They changed their looks a lot more. And I thought it was a credit to Steve Wilks, the first-year defensive coordinator there, that, he was able to make adjustments. And that was one of the questions coming in is, into the season, what's the defense going to look like with a new defensive coordinator, particularly one who hasn't been in the building, right? D'Amico Ryans was a linebackers coach and essentially picked up where Robert Saleh left off when he took the Jets job. And now you bring in a new defensive coordinator from completely outside the building. What's that going to look like? Well, so far, I think it's promising. And so there's still going to be some early season weirdness, I think, because, there isn't a lot of tape out there just yet, 2 games worth now. But the way the 49ers adjusted against Sean McVay's scheme, which I thought was really good, I think was promising. And offensively, look, you'll take 30 points. If you were to wake up Sunday morning and say the Niners were going to score 30 points, you'd feel great about their chances in that game. And to see them score 30 points without really a great performance from Brock Purdy speaks to how good the offense is and speaks to what the ceiling of the offense is, which obviously seems like it could be a lot higher than 30 points a game.
The big breakout player, I guess you could say, for me in that game on Sunday was Isaiah Oliver. Had an interception, had a really big 4th down stop, which also came really timely because Sam Womack is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, I think they said, with the torn MCL. Where do you see the DB room kind of standing at this moment right now? And do you think that maybe, last week we were talking about the 49ers cap situation. Could that be a place where they use some cap space to kind of address some of the depth issues, I guess, at cornerback?
Yeah, potentially. I think they're probably another injury away from really feeling like they need to go outside the building. I would say, Ambry Thomas, who's now dealing with a knee injury, and we'll probably hear later today about his status for Thursday night against the Giants. But the 49ers have kind of been shuffling their secondary room around in the sense that, Diamador Lenore sometimes plays in the slot with Ambry Thomas on the outside. And we've seen Ambry Thomas get picked on a little bit during these first 2 weeks. And then the adjustment has been playing Lenore exclusively outside and having Isaiah Oliver play in the slot. And you really saw the benefits of that move come in the second half on Sunday. To your point, Chris, he made 3 of the biggest defensive plays of the game. He had a stop on third down, made a really nice tackle in the flat to get the 49ers off the field, the defense off the field early in the third quarter, in addition to that fourth down stop and that interception. So he's a veteran player. They thought, he was going to be a really important pickup for them in light of losing Jimmy Ward to free agency in the offseason. And so I think now, particularly with Thomas dealing with a knee injury, you're probably going to see Isaiah Oliver play in the slot more full time, particularly if he's going to replicate what he did on Sunday. So that stability might allow them to start feeling a little bit more comfortable, improve the chemistry, and that could start paying off too going forward.
Chris Biderman joins us right here, Sactown Sports, 1140. If you want to be more knowledgeable about the 49ers, check out his Candlestick Chronicles podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Chris Biderman. Chris, how do you expect as this season evolves? I think I've called them like the beer commercial, the most interesting man in the world. I call the Niners the most interesting team in the world. It got a little less interesting once they shipped off Trey Lance. But how do you expect this offense to delve up what they have skill-wise on offense between running and passing the ball? Because you have Purdy, you have Ayuk, you have Kittle, you have Debo, obviously, and then you have CMC in the backfield. Do you see this being like an even 50-50 split between passing and running? Because I've seen the stats of when the Niners run the ball more than 30 times, it's incredible for Mike Shanahan. So do you see it being run-heavy, pass-heavy, or do you think it's going to depend on the matchup?
Yeah, right now through 2 weeks, they're 28th in the NFL in pass attempts. And obviously in the Steelers game, they were ahead for most of that game. And this is just, Kyle Shanahan likes to run the ball. The way he views it is, you base everything you do off the running game and you force teams to stop you on the ground. And if they can't stop you on the ground, then you just keep running right at them. And then if the running game is effective, you build play action and you start to create open receivers that way. That's always been what Kyle Shanahan's sort of done. But I think he trusts Brock Purdy a lot more than the past quarterbacks that he's had. So I think Kyle Shanahan will feel more comfortable throwing it 30 or 40 times a game if he needs to because of the trust he's shown in Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy doesn't have the biggest arm, and he wasn't super accurate on 3 of those deep balls in particular on Sunday. But I think overall, even going back to last year and even going back to like his first start against Tampa Bay, you remember in the second quarter, he's hucking it deep into the end zone for Brandon Ayuk. And we've seen Kyle Shanahan really play conservatively so often leading into halftime when Jimmy Garoppolo was his quarterback. He just trusts Brock Purdy not to put the ball in harm's way. So I think as time goes on, we're going to see the 49ers, they're always going to want to run the ball. Kyle Shanahan's always going to want to set the tone on the ground. But I think more so than really at any other point in Shanahan's tenure, he's going to feel comfortable airing it out if he needs to. And we also saw that in the Las Vegas Raiders game last year too, when the 49ers had to throw the ball a lot because the Raiders are scoring a lot in that game. So I think, they're going to evolve into something that ends up being more balanced than I think what we've seen, just because Kyle Shanahan trusts Brock Purdy in a way he didn't necessarily trust the quarterbacks he had before him.
Chris, this might be an unfair question through 2 weeks, but it's a question I think I'm probably going to ask you a lot throughout this season. Which team do you kind of view as a bigger threat to the Niners? And the good news is they play them both throughout the regular season. Do you view Dallas or Philadelphia right now as if you're just looking at how they stand right now, who do you think matches up or is a worse matchup for the Niners?
I think Dallas, I just think that defense is really good. Like it might be one of the best defenses we've seen over the last few years. Yeah. And Micah Parsons could be a real problem, particularly for somebody like Colton McKivitz, right? Mm-hmm. So I just, the Eagles are obviously very talented, but Right now they're dealing with injuries in the secondary. I don't think from the other side of the ball, I don't think the 49ers fear Jalen Hurts as much as a lot of people might think, or I don't know if anybody thinks Niners fear Jalen Hurts, but I don't think he's the matchup issue that he might be to other teams. I just still have questions about the Eagles' intermediate passing game. I know they can run the ball, and they can throw the ball deep downfield, but can they get a 3rd and 6 in the fourth quarter of a playoff game against the 49ers defense consistently enough? Obviously, while the 49ers have their starting quarterback on the other side. But I think right now, just because the Cowboys defense is as good as it is, I think they pose a tougher matchup in this moment, but that could change as the season goes on for sure. I haven't been super impressed with the way the Eagles have played in the first 2 weeks. I know they're 2-0. But I just think Dallas has been the most impressive team in the NFL, maybe aside from the 49ers so far. So I think in this moment, Dallas is probably the bigger threat.
Hate to make you do a quick answer, but it's got to be quick, and it's actually a 2-part, which makes it even worse. Which positional group are you most worried about in terms of the Niners, and do you think they're going to make a move with the amount of cap space that they have?
It's probably the right side of the offensive line, and they definitely could. They created that optionality. I don't know that they will, but they've been super aggressive in addressing areas of need. We've seen, 2019 Emmanuel Sanders, last year Christian McCaffrey, even going back to 2017 when they got Jimmy Garoppolo at the trade deadline. So this team is not afraid to make midseason moves. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I would say the right side of the offensive line, whether it's right guard, probably more so right tackle. Those are the areas I'm keeping an eye on ahead of the trade deadline for sure.
Gotta love having an owner that just hands out signing bonuses the way that York does. Follow him on Twitter. Be more knowledgeable about your red and gold at Chris Biderman, Biderman. Does a fantastic Candlestick Chronicles podcast. Chris, thank you for your time, sir. Enjoy the rest of your quick turnaround for you, sir. Thursday Night Football is right around the corner.
It's easy for me. I'm just sitting at my desk talking about it. I don't have to go play like these players do. I feel bad for them.
Hey, but you can't tell your significant other that. You got to make it seem like, you're super busy and this is like digging a ditch. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Make it sound harder than it is.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a real job like the one she has. But,
you have to make it seem like that. Thank you, Chris. Enjoy the rest of your week. There you have it. Chris Biderman. Good guy, man. Solid knowledge.
Best, man.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people, I think most people assume based on the Niners that they have no room. They've got room to make a move this year.
Well, they have tons of room.
Crazy talking about a team that everybody says is the most talented in the league.
They have the most cap space of any team in the NFL.
Nuts.
There's really isn't many moves that the 49ers can't make.
Yeah.
They can realistically go out there and go big fish hunting again.
Question
they can
is,
bring in a Christian McCaffrey-esque player.
Who will be available is the question.
Yeah. There's tons of players out there.
You could have the best rod, if I can do a fishing analogy. I fish when I'm in Michigan. I'm actually a Cali boy, so I know nothing about it, but I've learned how to take the hook out of a fish. All right, coming up next, we will look at the NFL, and after week two, not necessarily enough to really know who's who or who's what, but which 0-2 teams should not be panicking, and which 2-0 teams should not feel as confident as they do. That is a Chris Watkins special right there, and we'll do it next. You're listening to Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports, 1140.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Model Year End pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the Model Year End event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Attention, all tool shoppers. Get ready for the biggest DeWalt sale event of the year at Fasteners Inc. Sacramento this Saturday, September 23rd. We're bringing you the best deals on DeWalt products you've ever seen for one day only, including impact drivers for $59, combo kits for as low as $179, and up to $2,000 off your order with instant cashback rewards. Again, that's this Saturday only, September 23rd. Come on down and get better tools for better prices at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet. Find us at 6701 Power Inn Road and learn more at fastenersinc.net.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Welcome back, Sacramento. It is Sactown Sports alongside Chris. Don't call me Christopher Watkins. I am Zakariah. Coming up, bottom of the hour. We're going to sneak Kings talk in whenever we can. Chris, you okay with that?
More than okay with that.
Yeah. Star of the run, I would call you. No, in all honesty,
fair appearances.
In all honesty, before we even met in person, or maybe did we meet last year?
Yeah,
when
I think
Cal
so. Yeah.
Briefly,
that's when I wasn't on air. I was
okay,
just out in the
little touch and go, hello or whatever.
Yeah.
But before I officially met you, I did know of you and I recognized you. You were all up in the run, son.
Yeah, I don't know what
doing
it is.
your job. You were on the grind.
Hey, it's I miss it. I really do miss the season. It's
coming.
It's right around the corner. We're I think 2 weeks away from Media Day, 2 or 3 weeks away from Media Day,
and then, you know what you're gonna say a week into it? I'm overwhelmed. You're going to miss this time.
No, absolutely not.
You love it?
No, I cannot wait. I mean, I was just talking with our guy Brendan Nunez about it the other day. Just like
free dinner, dude.
It's
free food. That's the best
the
part.
food isn't great, but it is free.
Dude, it's like a balanced meal. Like I get veggies in there. It's nice. It's
salad
nice.
bar is nice.
The cookies
are more than decent.
That's a plus for me. I haven't done it as much as you, Chris, but I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
So I did A's pre and post game.
Yes.
And I love my A's.
They
Shout out
pay,
to my
man.
A's.
They make the media pay for food.
Well, what is free is stale popcorn and hot dogs from like the 1920s.
Oh yeah, they do
put
have
the A's
hot,
out on blast,
but hot dog machine.
And I would eat them up because you know what? I was a broke radio dude doing A's pre and post game.
My dad is a very smart man, and he's got a lot of things that he says. But one of the greatest is if it's free, give me 3.
I like
every
it.
single
That's
time.
Or
weird
if it's
that
free, it's me.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so weird that the A's wouldn't spend a bunch of money.
Right,
on
I know.
meat.
That's what I was
weird.
thinking.
Well, they
I
have
was
to feed
like,
the possums.
It's all like the beautiful.
All right, no
backdrop
disparaging my
and
athletics.
everything.
Okay, that's my
Hey,
Bash
man.
Brothers.
Yeah.
That was my squad.
Hey man,
Yeah,
I think
They need a new
if
stadium
anybody can
desperately.
be bashed, it's these Oakland A's.
Okay,
Especially the organization. I got no problem bashing the Oakland A's organization.
It's more a shot on the owner.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I love all of you people out there in Oakland. Shout out.
Even John Fisher.
Yeah.
Can we get that on a quote? Can we put that on a
you
shirt?
love John Fisher because you're already on the side of the NFL owners,
Yeah.
right? Say you love John Fisher.
Wait, hold on. Be quiet. You want to say it?
I respect John Fisher.
That's good enough for me. Hey, cut that. Cut that. Nate, cut that.
Hey, if you're that rich and you can own a team, I respect you no matter what.
I don't
does a
respect
horrible
John
job.
Fisher.
Did you see the billboard where they called out his mama?
Absolutely.
That's when you're
And she
really
should come get him.
Well, that's when you're
'Cause he's
really
acting a
getting into
fool.
it.
He's
Yeah.
acting a fool.
All right. Well,
Please, Doris, come get him.
My whole point was to tease that we're going to talk about the Kings.
Yes.
Segment.
Yes.
And sophomore slump?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Absolutely not.
Miss me with that.
Yeah. there's
Right
no way.
now, let's do a little 2-0 team that shouldn't be, on their high horse.
Yeah.
And let's do the 0-2 team where you can pump the brakes on being very concerned. I will
Yes.
say this stat a million times over till it's in everybody's brain and they can rattle it off. 90% of the teams that start 0-2 do not make the playoffs. I will start and then I'll let you ride from there and we can just go back and forth.
Sounds good.
Team that's 0-2 that should be very much concerned, that should not be confident, is the Cincinnati Bengals. We touched on it a little bit. Joe Burrow does not look right. I don't know how many weeks he's going to need to get right, but they can't really afford to do it. And so I think that this might be a lost season for them. I'm going to start with that 0-2 team saying that's a team that should be panicked.
I completely agree with you. They're one of the teams that made my list for everything you just said. I mean, it just feels like if anybody is justified to panic right now, it feels like Bengals fans should kind of be at like a 9, maybe 9.5 right now. On the
and 100% because of Burrow,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
If Burrow looked good and they were losing close games,
Right.
and week 2 was a close game to give them credit,
Sure.
but week 1 was a slot fest. So, I mean, maybe you can write off both. But if he's going to miss time or if he's going to be as limited as he looks, they're done.
Yes,
you
especially
don't
in
do
that
anything
division.
without the head of your snake.
It's really, really tough, and it's an uphill battle, and they've looked terrible all year long. So, yeah, I mean, the Bengals should definitely be concerned.
Okay,
I'm marrying these two teams because, A, they're really similar, and B, they play each other this week.
Okay.
Vikings and the Chargers. Whoever loses this game, the season's pretty much over at that point. I mean,
Well, hang on. You're not telling me which one should be. Oh, you're saying that this game will determine who should be worried?
Yes, I think both teams are definitely on alert right now, and this is going to be a loser goes home kind of loss. And I know it's early in the season. It's week 3, and I guess it's tough to bury anybody in week 3. But the Chargers, after I know we played the audio yesterday of Brandon Staley saying this is not about last season against the Jaguars. This has
There's not a
nothing to do.
carryover from the colossal failure in the playoffs from last year.
That's only
even though
true.
It looks like that.
Exactly. That's only true for a certain amount of time. Once you start losing, that's when people start talking, and it's like, man, maybe
100%.
we don't got. You just let doubt seep in.
There's
that's where you
no
start
way
losing.
to, like, in the very least, what he should have said, this is what I want more players and coaches to do is, look, the media can be blamed for a bunch of stuff. Believe me, I do my best to not be somebody that does something that somebody can point to and go, the media is ridiculous. But in the very least, what I would like athletes and coaches to do is at least acknowledge why we're connecting those things.
Yeah.
It's hard to have those two tough losses, one against the Dolphins who looked great, and then last week, and not at least think about last year and whether or not a collapse like that, like, you don't have to say that it does affect the way that they're playing, but at least acknowledge why we're going there. We're not just pulling it out of thin air. There's a reason why we're going there.
Absolutely.
Interesting that you said the Chargers, because also in the AFC West, the Broncos are 0-2. I read the stats on what Russell Wilson's numbers are in the first half, a.k.a. when Sean Payton has his scripted plays. He looks like he did when he was in Seattle.
Yeah.
When all that goes to the wayside and he has to be a quarterback that does it on its own, his numbers are awful.
Yeah.
So for both of those teams, I think if the Chargers make a coaching change, I hate to say it, I don't want to call for anybody's job. I want everybody to be employed. I would like the unemployment rate to be 0. But I think if they make a coaching change,
unfortunately,
there's a ton of talent on that Chargers team. And they were missing Eckler last week.
Yes.
And with the Broncos, I don't know. I mean,
I've said that. I don't know how they get better.
Isn't that that's one of the biggest anomalies for me to figure out, because like I said, when you have Russell at his best in the first half and you have Peyton orchestrating that, they look great. But when Russell let Russ cook or whatever, they look horrible.
Yeah. When Russ cooks, it's like,
I would say for both
catered meals.
I would say for both teams, I would not be in full blown panic mode, but I'd be close. And I like your whole whoever wins out of Chargers Vikings then go into panic mode.
Yeah, exactly. I think both of those teams are definitely primed for panic mode. And I think the Broncos definitely should be concerned, especially with the expectations of this year. It just feels like, again, everything is fine come week 1. Everybody's feeling positive about the season. Everybody's in for a rebirth season. And then once these losses start stacking up, that's when the emotions of football and just of being a human start to come up. And it's like you can't help but doubt and look around and say, man, maybe we don't have the dogs to do it. Yeah,
100%. And also with Minnesota, there's just a big question mark. I mean, you got Jefferson, who's obviously going to be, the core of your team. But in terms of their quarterback position, and Kirk Cousins, he had 4 touchdowns, no picks last week.
Still
and they
had
lost,
2 turnovers. That's the problem, is they just keep turning it over.
He'll always be a question mark. All right, coming up, bottom of the hour, Kings fans, stick around. Sophomore slump, look elsewhere, okay? Don't look in the capital of California, because there's no sophomore slump here. You're listening to Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
Has Monty put together a roster that can help make a deep playoff run this season?
Just trying to give coach options, give him guys that can help us win in a variety of areas. Obviously, our top guys are going to play every game, but there's going to be other times, whether it's injuries, matchups, we've got to have some variety on the bench for coach to point to and say, go in there and help us win.
Tune into every Kings game this season
on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
There's just something about fall that makes me want to enjoy every moment. The changing leaves, the pumpkin patches, and you know what else won't last? Quick Quack's new pumpkin spice scented car wash. Text SPICE to 41284 to get 50% off any wash.
It's time to trade in and trade up at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com. It's all a click away.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own one report.
Ready for a sizzling football season? Take your game day parties to the next level with Napoleon Prestige Grills from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Fire up the grill and score big with mouth-watering burgers, juicy steaks, and finger-licking wings. Napoleon Prestige Grills bring the heat and come complete with a lifetime warranty. Get your ultimate game day companion today. Visit your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply and elevate your tailgate experience with Napoleon Prestige Grills. Green Acres Nursery and Supply, your one-stop shop for grilling greatness this football season. Visit idategreenacres.com for the store near you. Game on.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Sometimes progress toward global net zero can be hard to see, invisible even. Like how Chevron is targeting 25 million tons of CO2 per year in storage and offsets by 2030. While at the same time, working with partners to reduce the cost of carbon capture and scale the technology to other industries like cement, innovating toward lower carbon solutions today while helping others do the same for the future. That's energy in progress. Visit chevron.com/carbon capture.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports' IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com and sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's film at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Sactown Sports
Headlines.
I'm Nate Littlefield. These are your Sactown Sports headlines. Well, we had Monday Night Football yesterday, which makes sense because today's Tuesday. It was also a doubleheader. The Saints took down the Panthers by a score of 20-17, despite Derek Carr having a mediocre outing. He had no touchdowns and an interception. And the Steelers bounced back after an embarrassing loss to the 49ers last week. Their defense dominated the Browns. The D had 2 touchdowns on their own. A fumble recovery taken back by TJ Watt and a pick 6 on the first play of the game by Alex Highsmith. They ended up winning by a score of 26-22. Excuse me, by a score of 26-22. Good? Yeah, you're drinking some bubble water. Those are the headlines. Now we get back to the second half. Or no, not quite. Man, I'm all over the place. Now we get back to the midday show with Zakariah and Watkins.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Okay, all right. Look, I assume that the people out there like to have the curtain pulled back and see how stuff is done here.
Let's do it.
I don't know if the bosses are going to pull us in after the show and I'll never be on the air again here.
Oh, no.
But I think that this is fun. And to me, I like things to be out in the open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Well, first, let me do the professional part. This is Sactown Sports 1140. He is the one and only Chris Watkins. I am Zakariah. Coming up at 11:45. This actually should be the 11:45 segment, Fun in the 40s, as we get to know each other. By the way, if you don't have the audio, call Kyle or text Kyle. We need the getting to know you. We need that music because it's me and Chris. This is our second show, so we're going to ask questions to each other, and we're going to get to know each other.
And which spot is that?
11:45. Coming up next.
Gotcha.
Okay, but if you heard that update, and Nate, I appreciate your hard work. You put together this rundown, gave the sound.
Yeah,
I feel a butt coming.
Yeah,
that update. That was now as a man that did Sports Center updates for years,
bro.
So did you really have bubbly water right before you went on air?
I got two excuses.
Cold-blooded. You said on air over the mic. You said, "Are you okay?"
I was concerned.
Okay,
all right. Let me speak my piece here, guys. Let's clear out for a second.
Let's go.
I'm notorious for having the worst updates of all time here.
That's not true.
Yes, I am. You don't know us.
Okay. Whoa. See, now I'm offended. I'm an outsider.
You came at me with a butt.
You came at me, bro.
Okay. So I've had the worst updates here forever.
Oh my God.
They've gotten significantly better, I think most people would say. I'm drinking this bubble water back here. It got up in my throat. And then you could tell in my voice, I am sick.
I do hear a little rap.
You know, you could have told me that before I got into close proximity with you. You are in a soundproof room.
Well, I wanted you to get a deeper voice too. I know,
I don't need to go any deeper.
We're seeing how deep we can go. Those are my excuses. Take them if you want. Make fun of me. I don't care.
It's fine. Just remember the cough button. You know,
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, the bubble snuck up on me.
Yeah, I hear you.
The bubble snuck up.
I think it's
right
okay
there.
if the updates aren't perfect.
Yeah.
Bubbly water, very underrated, though.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I got to say. It settles the
We got this brand Polar. They give us water to us. Shout out to Polar.
Okay. Well, they're a sponsor, right?
I just like Polar.
No,
I'm saying that. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Let's talk sports, shall we? Chris,
let's
does that sound good?
Let's try and bring this.
All right. So we got in as we do, and we discuss what we're going to discuss. We try not to discuss everything, so it comes out organically when we give it to you people, what you mean, you people, when you're listening. But one of the topics was the Kings and talking about sophomores, if you will. Sophomores would be the season after your rookie year.
Yep.
Now, when you told me about this,
I
figured it was going to be something about, the Kings' first round pick last year.
Yeah. Number
Keegan
4
Murray.
pick in the draft.
Number 4 pick in the draft. Now, you would think, looking at that, okay, the 4th overall pick, and especially when you have this many categories, and I will just read you the categories. I won't even get into the content of it. Number 1 is which sophomore is poised for a breakout season.
Okay.
Number 2 is which sophomore has something to prove this season.
Okay.
Number 3 is name an under-the-radar sophomore who will be a key contributor. Those are your 3 topics.
Yep, those are 3 wide-ranging topics.
You said Keegan was selected where?
Oh, no, I didn't say anything because Keegan Murray wasn't selected anywhere.
Well, I was just going to say, he was the 4th overall
number 4 pick.
The Kings were the what seed last year?
They were the 3 seed.
They took the defending champs to how many games?
7.
Okay, and Keegan
Murray hit 200 threes, most of any rookie of all time.
And there's 3 categories?
There's 3 different categories.
And he went off in the California Classic.
He went off in the California
Classic. And his brief appearance in Summer League.
All that.
And he's not under any of the 3?
There's 5 contributing writers to this article.
More numbers. 5 writers. I love it.
And Keegan Murray's name is quite literally not mentioned once.
That is unbelievable.
In this entire article.
That is unbelievable.
You can read it right now at ESPN.com. It's NBA sophomores to watch in the 23-24 season. Who needs to step up? I'm not joking. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say there is not a single mention.
It's as if he's not in the NBA. And this was a guy who had a solid rookie season that was drafted in the top 5 for a playoff team. It's not like you can just write it off like, oh, it's in Sacramento.
Right.
They didn't make the playoffs. The drought continues.
Or even say, obviously, Keegan Murray.
And there's 3 different categories, Chris, and 5 writers.
He could realistically fit. I can make an argument right now. I can be Chris Watkins, throw me as a 6th writer into this. I could fit Keegan Murray into any one of those topics.
At least a mention.
Which sophomore is poised for a breakout season? Now, maybe you can argue Keegan had 12 points per game, shot 40% from 3. Maybe that's not breakout. But you point out the California Classic. He looked like a completely different guy.
And everybody's talking about him as one of the people that would have a breakout season.
Absolutely. Let's go to the second one. Which sophomore has something to prove this season? I think Keegan Murray still has a lot to prove. He
went to Iowa, kind of under the radar, not your flashiest guy.
Even still is viewed as pretty much just a shooter. Didn't really do, and I would even say didn't really do much besides catch and shoot situations. Like, can he put the ball on the floor? Can he defend? Can he elevate to be the Kings' number 3 option? Like, tons to prove this season. I understand why maybe he didn't fit into this one, because this is more like Jabari Smith, Jaden Ivey, Dyson Daniels, Johnny Davis, guys who didn't have a good rookie season. So I'll let that one slide. But even then, again, there's an argument that you can put him in that category. How about naming under the radar sophomore who'll be a key contributor? The fact he wasn't named in the first two.
That's the thing. He's either got to be in that one or any of them.
Yeah.
Any of them.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Yeah. Is that just a matter of like Sac? Because I feel like Sac got a lot of love last year. You saw him a lot on national TV. People were talking about Light the Beam. A lot of people said that outside of the team, that's their team. That was the team that they kind of latched onto. Yep. I had friends that liked the Blazers, friends that liked the Warriors. Everybody loved it. They were like the NBA's darling.
Yeah.
So you can't really say that they went unnoticed. How could they possibly write an article with 5 people contributing with 3 different categories and not mention a guy that was drafted in the top 5 for a team that was a number 3 seed? That's unbelievable. It's honestly unbelievable.
I just don't have an answer for you. It's malpractice. It's ridiculous. It's every word that JJ Redick used to describe the Sabonis Halliburton trade. It fits for this article because it doesn't make any sense. And, this is the most Sacramento segment we can do because, of course, like, we're just upset that we know that this guy's primed for a rookie season, or a sophomore season, but the fact that national media isn't acknowledging it, it's a perfect Sacramento microcosm.
Well, I hope Mike Brown and co are listening and they use this as bulletin board material.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to call him out by name. Young.
Yeah, I've never heard of him.
Okay. Andrew Lopez, a lot easier.
Yep.
Kendra Andrews.
Yep.
Tim McMahon, there you go, and Jamal Collier. And I'm going to make you the 6th writer, so I'll ask you, Chris Watkins. I have you as number 6 here.
Sure.
Which one do you think he falls under the most between which sophomore is poised for a breakout season, which sophomore has something to prove this season, and name an under-the-radar sophomore who will be a key contributor? I think he was already a key contributor.
Yeah.
I don't think he has anything to prove because I think he had a good rookie year. So I think it's what we've all been talking about / hoping for as people that either cover the Kings or root for the Kings, and sometimes both. Which sophomore is poised for a breakout season?
Yes.
I think that was where I would at least mention him.
Yes.
In the very least.
That's the thing.
At like the end of your blurb, maybe?
All that is I cannot agree with you more. I think that he belongs in that poised for a breakout. I'm seeing from 12 points last year to I really think he can be up near 14, 15, 16 a game if things go really right. And, another 40% shooting season. And, I don't know if he'll hit as many threes as he hit last year just because of, they bring in Chris Duarte, they bring in Sasha Vezenkov. Those guys might take away some of his attempts. But, he's going to have a very prolific season for the Kings, and he might even shoot less threes and take more from inside the arc. So I definitely think he's primed for the breakout season. That's definitely where I would have.
Well, as the home of the Kings, if any of the Kings brass is listening, go ahead and print this article out, fold it up in a paper, old school, back when you used to pass notes in school, and just hand it to Mr. Murray. And say, just so you know, you weren't even mentioned. Not even in a bad way you weren't mentioned.
Exactly.
It was as if you did not exist.
It's literally as if he didn't exist at all. I feel like every single other rookie is mentioned. Even in the beginning, they're like, we're not going to bring up guys like Paolo Banchero or Jalen Williams, Walker Kessler, Chet Holmgren. How about the only guy that is not mentioned?
It's almost so much of an insult. It's a compliment.
Sure.
It's like he's so good maybe that they didn't feel like they needed to bring him up.
That's the thing is maybe he's like he like fits in a weird in-between in all of these, but again, not an excuse. Just ridiculous.
All right, coming up next, this is our 2nd time working together, me and Chris Watkins, and we do a little getting to know you. Yesterday, we talked about favorite number. We talked about favorite childhood athlete. We talked about favorite childhood animal. And now we're just going to go deeper, and we're going to figure out more stuff about each other in the Fun in the 40s. I plead the 5th. Coming up next, Sactown Sports, 1140.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Who do they decide on for the Super Bowl?
What do you mean, halftime act?
Yeah. I know that Taylor Swift
Yeah, turn them down, right?
At what point do people turn on Taylor Swift to be like, why don't you lower your prices? And I understand the whole Ticketmaster thing, but what about the merch? Like, legit, do you have to make $1 billion? Could you make 500 million be? Could you?
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, A's catcher Shea Langoliers has had a pretty remarkable year. He's been behind the plate as the A's primary catcher for a team that has employed 39 pitchers. And offensively, as he approaches 20 home runs, he's closing in on some of the best figures for a catcher in A's history. Ramon Hernandez had 21 homers back in 2003. The gold standard, Terry Steinbach, 35 in 96. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
It's the model year-end sales event at Acura of Stockton. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Lease a new Acura RDX or MDX. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton or AcuraofStockton.com, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips.
That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start. And Irish Spring Body Wash. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset Mike needs. Now he's ready
To go to work.
It's Sunday. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools. One bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
As a mom, I'd do anything to keep my child out of physical pain. As a doctor, I know that growth spurts can cause pain in my child's feet, and that can affect their legs and back too.
This is Dr. Pamela Maida, a board-certified orthopedic surgeon.
Children especially benefit from arch supports as a sturdy and supportive foundation for their developing feet. If your kids have pain, then I recommend Youth Arch Supports from the Good Feet store.
Youth Arch Supports are designed to alleviate, even eliminate common pain in the feet, knees, hip, or back. If your child is physically active with sports, clubs, or even on the playground, they may benefit from the comfort and support found in Good Feet Youth Arch Supports.
I firmly believe that investing in Youth Arch Supports for your child or teen is one of the best decisions you can make to support their feet.
See how Youth Arch Supports can help with a free arch support fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Welcome back, Sactown. It is Chris Watkins, Zakariah right here, Sactown Sports 1140. If you want to join the program, do so, won't you? 916-339-1140. You can call or text there. You can also go to YouTube, check out our mugs. Just search Sactown Sports, and you'll be able to find us live. You can see me hitting the off button as our wonderful producer should have done during his update. Last time I bring it up. By the way, figured out his doppelganger.
Nate?
I might have already told this to you, but every time I see you, it reminds me. I have this thing where if I meet somebody, I need to know if they look like somebody, I need to know what it is, or it like ruins my day.
Okay.
Like I don't have a direct one for you.
Can I guess who mine is?
Yeah, you probably heard it before.
Yeah, that's why.
What?
People tell me sometimes I look like Kylo Ren from Star Wars, the new ones.
Like Adam Driver.
I'm not up on Star Wars enough.
Yeah.
No, mine is the The guy that does Family Guy and Ted.
Seth MacFarlane.
Seth
huh?
MacFarlane.
Okay.
100%.
I've never heard
Go
of
ahead and Google
Yeah.
image search Seth MacFarlane. He looks dead on him. And he sort of has the same kind of sense of humor. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's getting to know our producer. This segment will be getting to know. Are you seeing it?
Yeah, I'm trying
Chris
to look.
is looking. If you're looking on YouTube, he's going back
Hey,
and forth.
Peter. How's that? How's that?
He looks dead
Now
on
I
him.
see it.
Yeah,
Now,
he looks
now
dead
that
on
he
him.
did that, I see it.
Anyways.
Yes, top of the hour as we get into the PM portion of your day. We will talk about Tyreek Hill had some choice words for Patriots fans. So we'll talk about best fan bases, Sacramento Kings fans. You're up there, damn it. So we'll talk about that top of the hour. But right now, it's getting to know. Getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me. Those are the lyrics. We did this yesterday as, what did I learn yesterday? I learned that childhood hero of yours is Randy Moss. I got to get my notes, darn it. I learned that your favorite number, you didn't have a definitive one,
Yes.
but if you had to go with one, it was
Indecisive.
23.
Yes.
I learned that your favorite animal is a koala bear.
Yep.
And I learned that last meal would be pizza,
Yes.
wings, and steak. You just threw
Yes.
steak in there because you can have whatever,
not?
right?
Exactly.
So let's go through some other questions.
Let's do it.
For each other, shall we?
Yeah.
Do you want to answer first, or do you want me to answer first?
You can answer first.
All right.
Why not?
What is, when I say bucket list,
Mhm.
I think there was a movie called Bucket
There
List.
was,
I want to
yeah.
say Morgan Freeman was in
Yup.
it. And, if I say bucket list, just give me one, like, what is one thing that you have not done that you definitely want to before you die?
Good question. Man, I don't know. I guess I clearly don't have a bucket list. I'd probably say, man, yeah, I really don't have a bucket list.
Tough
honestly.
one, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really given that much thought. I'm a little singularly focused, and you
Yep.
know, my goal has
Fair
been
enough.
for so long to get to a point where I can afford to have bucket list material things.
For the
So,
listeners out there, in
Yeah.
Chris's defense, he told me off air.
yes,
All right, maybe you said it on air that you were not going to be good at this game.
I did tell
because
you
you're
that.
not very good at having direct
Not
questions.
decisive.
Very decisive
indecisive.
answers, and that's fine. I have mine.
Yeah.
And it's either of any of my favorite teams,
Okay.
watching them in person when it's final and they've won it. So obviously for football,
Sure.
it would be the Super Bowl.
Right.
In basketball, it would be the game-winning game. I don't care if
Right.
it's in 4, 5, 6, or 7.
Sure.
But there for the final game.
Yeah.
And then in baseball, same thing out of a 7-game series.
See, I wish I could have that, but I just don't have any faith that my teams will ever make it. In my
Neither do
lifetime.
I.
Okay.
Believe
Gotcha.
me.
I mean, that would be.
I've kind of alluded to who
Yeah.
my favorite teams are,
Yeah.
but yes, I'm just as skeptical as you are on that. How about this one? What's your favorite place on earth? I have a definitive answer for that. Do you?
Home. Honestly.
Oh my
I am a
God,
big
you
home
are
body.
a wet blanket.
Yes, big time.
No
That's
answers
how I
for
go.
most stuff, and when you do have an answer, it's home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
kind of a
love being
sweet
home.
answer.
I love being
Very
home.
boring though.
Yep.
Okay.
That's me.
Fair.
That's
Don't
that's
admit that
me.
to the public.
Why not?
Okay, that's fine. That's why it's a good yin and yang between
Yeah.
you and I. Mine is St. Pietro in Rome, Italy.
Okay.
I'm half Italian. I got family out there. I stayed out there right out of high school. I went with my brother, and we were about a 10-minute walk from St. Pietro.
Yeah.
And this is when Rome pretty much ran the whole world.
Oh, you
St.
were there?
Pietro, that's where the Pope is, but it's not the Pope side of that area
Gotcha,
that
yeah.
I love. It's the plaza with a fountain in the middle, and they have statues, Chris, on either side that line. It's almost like a horseshoe. Any one of those statues would be like the prominent statue in a museum in any other country. But because they had so much money, it's just like it's one of 50, and it lines the whole plaza. And I would make my brother, God bless his soul, he had the patience to deal with me. I'd make him go to the center before every day. No matter where we were going, got to go there first.
Gotta just soak in those vibes.
St. Pietro.
Okay.
How about this? What's the worst movie you ever saw? I can go first if you want to think
Please
about
go
it.
first.
Okay.
Please go
Mine is, and I don't even know the name. I think it's Dinner with the Schmucks.
Okay.
Now, I love The Office. Love Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Forget his real name right now. It's
Dinner for Schmucks.
escaping me. Dinner for Schmucks.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a
Only-
remake too.
Only
Really?
movie I ever walked out
Steve
of.
Carell.
Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Only movie I ever walked out of in my entire life. Have you ever walked out of a movie?
I have not, but I recently watched a movie, and I'm trying to think which movie it was that I almost walked out of.
It was
Because
awful.
I've told you that I don't really watch a lot of movies because mainly because if they're bad, I feel like I just waste like a lot of time. Whereas like a TV show, I can kind of just turn it off immediately.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
You got to be
but-
careful with that because I bailed on the Wire and I still haven't seen it. I bailed on The Wire because the first 2 episodes are so slow.
It's just a slow show in general.
Was it McNally, the detective? The first 2 episodes, like him, like in his office, it's like watching somebody do paperwork.
I've only gotten through like a season and a half of The Wire for that exact reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we are in rare air. Most people call that the greatest show ever, above The Sopranos.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, it was good for what I watched it for, but it does go through some lulls for sure.
So you can't think of that
worst movie I ever saw. I'm trying to think of something that was just so offensively bad and terrible that it just wasted every second that I watched of it. Again, like I feel like I'm coming up short for you, but I just.
All right,
don't
here's
have
what we're gonna do
anything
for
in
the
mind.
rest of the week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you these questions before
For sure.
because I have I can snap fire all these. I didn't prep at all for these.
Yeah, I just don't have. Yeah, I don't really watch. I don't watch a lot of movies, and when I do watch them, I really try and make sure that they have
you like them.
very positive reviews
Gotcha.
and that I feel like I'm gonna like them.
Gotcha. By the way, a big scandal came out. Rotten Tomatoes, dirty. There's fake reviews
actually,
or whatever.
Super easy answer. Spider-Man 3, terrible.
Okay.
Spider-Man 3, I remember I don't know when that came out, like 07 or something like that. I literally went to the midnight showing because I love superheroes and all that stuff. Went to the midnight showing.
Let you down.
Literally, I was like an hour and a half in. I was like, is everybody else hating this as much as I am? It was one of those.
The old look around.
Really
I had that with The Irishman because I'm a big.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big mafia,
It's a long
Goodfellas.
movie.
And it wasn't really good.
Yeah.
And those guys, I mean, they're just getting older. They're making another one. He was supposed to make his last movie like 9 movies ago. All right, how about this one? I have a snap answer. Best concert you have ever been to?
Again, haven't been to many, but my people are probably going to laugh at this. The best concert I ever went to, Kanye West in Golden One Center. I know it got cut short. But the 4 or 5 songs we got, incredible, most hyped it's ever been.
Is this the one where he was on the floating stage and
Yes.
some had conspiracy theories that it wasn't even him?
Oh,
because you couldn't actually see him.
Oh, it was definitely him. You could see it. And yeah, Kid Cudi
Why
came
did he
out.
get cut? Is that the one where he lost his mind? Because he lost his mind in Oakland
absolutely
too.
Lost his mind. It was in San Jose the night before, and
The
everyone
Oakland one?
walking into the show was like, "Oh my gosh! Like, did you see last night? That was crazy! I can't believe you cut the show short." And then he cut the show short in Sacramento, and
Did
that
you
was
get
the
a
last
refund?
time. We did get a refund. That's why it's the best show I ever went to. It was a
it was
free show.
free and you
It was
saw
a
4
free
great
show.
songs.
Great songs, and it was incredible. I don't know if I would have been able to last the entirety of the show.
Yeah.
Just the mosh pit was crazy, and we were jumping up and down, and yeah, it was a great show.
So mine is I hate when people give 2 answers, but I have to. One was Up in Smoke. This was right in my prime, about 19, 20 years old. We're talking Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, The Dog Pound,
Yep.
Exhibit, Nate Dogg, and Ice Cube. Ridiculous
Yeah,
for me at that age.
That's ridiculous.
Wonderful one. But as I've gotten older, an ex of mine made me go see Stevie Wonder. And Stevie Wonder was incredible. We should all take a page out of his book because nobody looks happier than Stevie Wonder.
Right.
And he can't see, damn it. So I don't care how bad your day is. If you can see, you should have a smile on your face. How's that for a PSA?
How
for the
about
day?
that? Sometimes ignorance is bliss. though. So maybe Stevie's smiling because he can't see all the disgusting stuff that goes on.
That's
in the
actually
world,
okay.
you know?
That's a very that's a skeptical way of
Yeah.
looking at it, but yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe that is it. But he can hear stuff. But no, yeah, that was seeing him in person and just
Where'd you see him?
It was in Northern California, Bottle Rock. I want to say.
Oh,
Again,
okay.
I'm not
so it
hip
was
on
like
all those
a-
concerts,
it was
but
like
I think it was
an
Bottle
outdoor
Rock.
festival
Yes,
kind of. Okay,
yes.
I was thinking like if you got to see Stevie, I feel like it's got to be like in some music hall or something.
Yeah,
like that, where
probably
you
for
could-
the. I'm not a huge acoustic guy.
Sure.
For me, it was just seeing him, and you
Yeah.
could hear just fine.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool vibe.
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
Yeah, so that was fun. All right, well, that was the getting to know segment portion of the day. I know more about you now.
Yes.
Spider-Man 3, do not see it. people.
Don't even waste your time. There's not any reason to watch it.
Top of the hour, getting into the PM portion of your day. Tyreek Hill had some choice words, and he's got some history with a different team with the Patriots fan base, which led us to think who are the worst and best fan bases. We will talk about that. Top of the hour, you're listening to Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports, 1140.
The 49ers are in primetime this Thursday against the Giants.
Touchdown!
Pre-game coverage starts at 4:15 with kickoff at 5:15.
On Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sactown Sports is home to the Kings, Niners, and now the business of sports. Hosted by Kelly Brothers and brought to you by Cap Trust, offering customized, independent financial advice at captrust.com. Join Kelly Brothers, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason as they look at the business of sports every Thursday at 7:40 a.m. You want to know how sports really work? Follow the money with Kelly Brothers from Cap Trust on Sactown Sports.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
You're faced with a long shot in the heavy rough. Now what? Jessica Marksberry writes in Golf Magazine that while hybrids have made these shots a bit easier to deal with, lengthy shots from heavy rough are still a significant challenge. Top 100 teacher Tina Toombs says the first thing you need is loft and a specific mindset over the ball. You need to hold onto the club firmer with your left hand to prevent the club from grabbing the grass. You can elect to play in the back of your stance or play it forward. Playing it forward makes the swing a bit steeper so it can stay open more and the ball comes out of the rough better. She says a 7-wood makes it easier than a hybrid for longer shots. The ball comes out low, but rolls a long way because of topspin. And if all else fails, she says bailing out is an option too, and there's no shame in taking your medicine to avoid compounding your initial error. If you're really not sure, take your 9-iron and get it out. Don't risk topping it and leaving it in the rough. Good luck out there. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start. And Irish Spring Body Wash. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset Mike needs. Now he's ready
to go to work.
It's Sunday. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools. One bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Nate Littlefield. These are your Sactown Sports headlines. We had Monday Night Football yesterday, and it was a doubleheader. The Saints took down the Panthers by a score of 20-17, despite Derek Carr's mediocre outing. No TDs and an interception for Carr. And the Steelers bounced back after an embarrassing loss to the 49ers last week. Their defense dominated the Browns. The D had 2 touchdowns, a fumble recovery taken back by TJ Watt late in the game, and a pick 6 on the first play of the game by Alex Highsmith. Steelers ended up winning by a score of 26-22. Those are the headlines. Now we get to the second half of the midday show with Zakariah and Watkins.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Welcome to your afternoon, the PM portion of your day. This is Sactown Sports 1140 alongside CW, Chris Watkins. I am Zakariah. 2 hours in the books. 2 more to go. How was the halftime speech? Our producer came in, gave us the halftime speech, gave us a pep talk.
It was all right. It wasn't Deion Sanders quality, but it was good.
Told us wasn't quite Any Given Sunday. The
I'm
6 inches
sick.
in front of your face.
That is true. Nate's
I'm sick. That's my excuse.
Yeah.
That's going to be my excuse for a couple of weeks.
Excuses are like, you know what?
Yeah.
We all have one, and they're all full of you know what.
And I don't care.
Yep.
That's a slogan you can't really say. It's not very radio friendly.
I like to say, don't make excuses, make improvements.
Oh,
that was on a poster in my 7th grade classroom.
All right, coming up
stuck out.
Coming up at 12:15, I think we might get some listener interaction on this one. But we're going to piggyback off what we're going to do here. What we're going to do here is get into best and worst fan bases, and it comes on the heels of Sunday Night Football. The Dolphins beat the Patriots in New England. New England has a very bad rep for fan bases, but what we're going to do at 12:15, just talk about the stadiums. Forget the people within the arena, just the arena or the stadium itself. We'll do that at 12:15, and we will take your votes on what's the best and the worst. 916-339-1140. Should we throw the Kings out both for fans and the arena just because we know everybody's going to say them, or can we include them? I was just saying in terms of the topic.
For the best.
Yeah, for the
Gotcha.
best. Obviously not the worst. I think nationally they're known as one of the best fan bases.
Yeah, we can take them out.
And Golden One's great. But I say we just throw that out because otherwise everybody will say that.
Yeah, sure.
So let's start with just the audio that kind of spurred this whole thing. This is Tyreek Hill. The Dolphins get a win in New England. New England 0-2. Not only 0-2, Chris, 0-2 at home. There's different kinds of 0-2, as we're going to talk about at the bottom of the hour. Stock up, stock down. But there's different kinds of 0-2. When you go 0-2 at home, that's not a good look. But here's Tyreek Hill after the game. I believe he had a good game, a touchdown as well, and he celebrated accordingly. But here he is after the game.
Oh, it felt tremendous, man. Those fans are, some of the worst fans in the NFL, and I'm gonna stand on that, man, because they are real nasty, and some of the things that they were saying wasn't, I wouldn't say in church. So, it felt great to wave goodbye to the fans, and I'll do it again. Bye.
He really means it by. He said some of the worst fans in the NFL. So, Tyreek has a history of Patriots fans, not only with the Dolphins, but because of his time with Kansas City. In 2018, Chris, little known fact, Hill scored a 70-yard touchdown, as he does. That didn't sit well with the fans, leading for one fan to throw a beer on the wide receiver in the end zone. That fan was eventually banned from the stadium and charged with disorderly conduct. But it led us to this conversation. Worst fans, I think off the top of my head. Now, I don't tend to get into race, politics, or religion, but I will bring up that I learned a racial slur from Boston fans. Do you remember this story? Carl Crawford, does that ring a bell to you? Pretty good baseball player. Great fantasy player when he was in his prime.
Sure.
He was in the minor leagues rehabbing an injury, and he was called a Monday.
Okay.
Have you ever heard that phrase?
No, I have not.
It is what racist people call people of another color because everybody hates Mondays, so it's like code word for a racial slur. I literally learned that from Boston fans. They called called Crawford that. That's like deep-rooted racism.
Yeah, that's next level.
So I think Boston fans are up there. You remember, even though their best player ever was Bill Russell, Bill Russell doesn't even really like Boston because of the racism that he dealt with.
Right.
And they kind of have that stigma. But after that, my first thought is Philly fans. They booed Santa or threw snowballs at Santa.
Yeah.
They've been known for throwing batteries on the field.
Sure.
They booed the Eagles in the first quarter of the Vikings game.
They did.
And they were up 3-0.
Yeah.
But when I say bad fan base, what say you?
I think Philly fans are a great shout, and definitely Boston fans for sure, for all the reasons you outlined. Philly fans really stick out to me. I mean, yes, the throwing snowballs at Santa thing is really infamous.
Does it get any worse than, who hates Santa Claus?
Yeah,
I don't care what your religion is or anything.
Very telling.
Everybody loves Santa.
Yeah, very telling to the childhoods of a lot of Philly youth. I think the way they treated Ben Simmons still doesn't quite sit right with me. It was one thing for him to miss to not take that layup, but just everything that ensued after. I always talk about there's a newscast that was like there was a flood in Philadelphia, and they were like, oh, and here's images of Ben Simmons narrowly escaping the flood, and it's just a trash can like being taken away.
They did this on the news channel?
The news, like on Channel 4 News.
That's next level.
So that's what
That's going past the fans.
It's past sports even.
Yeah.
It's like it's not even the sports segment.
That's
it's
just the whole culture.
We're gonna tell 75-year-old ladies and who are watching at 2 o'clock. Hey, this is a guy that you should hate. So that always sticks out with me. But Laker fans, I mean, to me, Laker fans are the worst. Just their attitude. They're always shooting for the stars, quite literally. They're always thinking, the amount of graphics that would get made of, oh my God, the Lakers in 5 years are going to have Steph, Giannis, and LeBron and Anthony Davis. It was ridiculous. And, funny enough, I actually think the modern day Laker fans are kind of Warrior fans as well. Like Warrior fans are incredibly annoying. Even now, they still are like infatuated with adding Giannis to their core. Warrior fans are really, really loud, really obnoxious, and those two are really, and that's definitely some local bias for sure, but those two are definitely the loudest and most obnoxious fan bases, in my opinion.
You're listening to the ZW show, Zakariah and Watkins, right here, Sactown Sports 1140. You can chime in either on YouTube, search Sactown Sports, jump in the chat there, or you can call or text the show 916-339-1140. Best and worst fan bases. There's different elements to being a bad fan base, because you can also go with just not really caring.
Yes,
which
I've got that on my list as well. Yep.
I do not have the Lakers there, but I do have the Chargers and the Rams there. Dodgers fans, I think, are pretty hardcore.
They're good.
But I think of Miami. I will never forget.
I've got Miami on here too.
You do?
Yep, Miami Heat.
Because it's South Beach. And let's be honest, I'd be distracted too. But when they left early, before Ray Allen hit that three to tie game 6, they eventually won and then won. How bad would you – I don't lie about a lot. If I left that game early, and because you remember they couldn't get back in. You're not allowed re-entry, and they were trying to open the doors, break down the doors.
Yeah.
If I did that, I'd probably lie about it. Now, I would never do that. I always stay till the end.
Yeah.
But if I had left and couldn't get back in, I would lie and say that I was there.
Miami fans don't show up until the second quarter. You watch a Miami playoff game,
100%.
That whole lower bowl is like sporadic. It's like 15% full, which is crazy to me.
Even
but that's
for
a different kind of
games,
but we're talking about a different kind of bad, because that's bad in terms of not being like a good fan, and then there's bad where you're being racist or something like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about New York fans? I'm on the positive end on New York.
Yeah, definitely. They're very, very passionate.
So passionate.
Yeah, incredibly passionate. I don't think you can knock them. Knicks fans, they're maybe the most passionate out there. Like they're really like a bigger market version of how I think Kings fans feel, especially with their similar drought. Like it feels like there's a lot of similar emotions.
If the Kings had money, they'd be like the Knicks fans.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think I have Brooklyn Nets fans in my list and Clipper fans as well, just kind of being that second team in the market. There's just, I think the fans who are fans of those teams really care.
Yeah,
but
I feel for
that's
those
the
guys.
problem is there's just
they'll always play
quantity-wise.
second fiddle,
Yeah,
even if
exactly.
they win a championship. They'd get outdrawn and
It doesn't work.
outrated by the Lakers.
The Clippers are convinced that with their new Inglewood Stadium that'll be a real separation from the Lakers.
Ballmer's doing his damnedest to make them as relevant, but it's not.
Look at the Brooklyn Nets. Like they built Barclays. Barclays is arguably as nice as Madison
it's
Square
dope.
Garden.
Yeah, it's right down there.
They have
Hard to get
Kevin
to.
Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. Even
Didn't
then,
stick.
New Yorkers did not change their mind. They still are Knicks fans.
See, but I feel more sorry for the Clippers fan than I do the Nets fan. I don't think the Nets fan cares as much, not as much as a history. The Clippers fans try, but it's just everybody likes the Lakers. What are your thoughts on? So we're pretty much in agreement.
Yeah.
We're down on Boston. We're actually up on New York. I thought most people, I think, are down on New York, but we're both up on New York.
I think that's
I
just
respect
an East
the
Coast
passion.
bias. I think that's just trying to get a reaction.
Here's one we might disagree on.
Okay.
Chicago fans.
I don't really have an opinion on Chicago fans.
You're neutral.
Yeah.
Okay. I have them more under annoying.
Okay.
We're going to talk about stadiums next, and I've been to Wrigley. They annoy me more. I mean, maybe it was the whole and I'm not even a huge hockey guy.
Yeah.
But the Blackhawk era, they were kind of obnoxious. The Bulls era, obviously, if you're a fan, I don't know if there's any Suns fans out there. I know one personally. But didn't let Barkley get a ring. Drexler got one with the Blazers, but they stopped him for a while. Peyton got one with the Heat, but when he was with the Sonics, he prevented them. Jordan prevented a lot. They were kind of obnoxious. So I have Chicago as one of my worst fan bases. And it's maybe more jealousy than anything else.
Sure.
Because the Cubs finally got one. They were kind of the lovable losers.
Yeah.
Which is why I love Wrigley. But then they won a title. The Blackhawks dominated. The Bulls dominated. The Bears haven't really been – well, they were kind of annoying when they almost went undefeated. Yeah. And they had like the shuffle or the dance and
85 Bears.
And the fridge scored a touchdown. I got them under annoying, but you're neutral on them?
Yeah, I'm neutral. I've never really had many thoughts on Chicago fans. Maybe it's because we're so, location-wise distant from them that it just doesn't really cross over. But I think you said the Chargers, right? That
in terms of fair weather.
That feels like the most absent fan base to me, where it's just like –
well, because they lost all of their San Diego wins when they moved to LA.
Exactly.
And that's all even then they didn't have a ton. But yeah. All right. Well, what say you? Best and worst fan bases, 916-339-1140. Also, best and worst stadiums, all sports. We will cover them all. 916-339-1140. Text or call in. We will get your feedback and we will give you ours. You're listening to Zakariah and Chris Watkins right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Quick Quack Car Wash.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Your Tuesday forecast includes mostly sunny skies and a nice afternoon for working outdoors. Expect highs in the lower to mid 80s with overnight lows backing off to the upper 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
There's just something about fall that makes me want to enjoy every moment. The changing leaves, the pumpkin patches, and you know what else won't last? Quick Quack's new pumpkin spice scented car wash. Text SPICE to 41284 to get 50% off any wash.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-330-2929. That's 800-330-2929. 800-330-2929.
Model year end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com. Your one-stop Honda shop.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
They say the hardest time to bet the NFL is early on because you don't have a lot of signs of what the teams are going to be. We'll do a little stock up, stock down after week 2 of the NFL season as we get kind of an idea of what these teams are. Welcome back in Sacramento. It is the ZW show. Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports 1140. We just talked about the best and worst fan bases. Left out a group of fans that we'll get to before we get into the stadiums as well. What say you? You can call or text the show, 916-339-1140 on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, the actual website, all that good stuff. You can find us. I'm at Zach Sports, ZAK Sports on Twitter. Give me a follow. Give me a mention. Let me know how you feel. He's at Chris M. Watkins on Twitter. The fan base that we left out, Chris, Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, but
I think the Cowboys are known as the most annoying fan base in the world, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's also just numbers thing. You know, I think they just have so many fans that it's annoying how many there are.
But the Raiders fans are nationwide. Yankees fans are nationwide. I feel like the Cowboys are most annoyed.
Both of those fan bases have their annoyance.
True. But I mean, I think the Cowboys, it's like America's team is annoying.
Yes.
Like being known as
It's
America's
obnoxious
team.
for sure. Let me tell you, San Francisco 49ers fans, and I know we're the home of the Niners, but they can be loud too.
Yeah.
They can be pretty obnoxious. I mean, I think it's any team that has success, though. I don't really think it's, the two teams I mentioned from the NBA, Lakers and Warriors, two incredibly successful teams. It's just when you're not a winning franchise, or whatever, when there is any franchise, you said you have a great disdain for the Patriots. Whenever any team wins a lot, it's going to rub people the wrong way, and people are going to be excited when they win. And everybody who is a loser, who is the only, everybody else who doesn't win, they're going to view it as these guys are annoying. They're rubbing it in.
There's a reason why there's a phrase lovable losers.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not a phrase called lovable winners.
Right. Good
which
sports,
is why,
but
yeah. I mean, the Cubs and the Red Sox, I mean, I always pulled for the Red Sox just because of how much. Yeah. Sure. I mean, you're right. When you win, it breeds envy, which breeds, which breeds hatred. Yeah. But the Cowboys haven't done a lot of winning since 94 or whatever, 95.
Yeah.
And they're still very annoying. They come out of the
Absolutely.
woodworks. And even when the Lakers go through a drought, they're still super annoying. But yeah,
Yes.
a lot of that has to do
Incredibly annoying.
with past success. Chicagoans, I don't know if that's what you call it. I just guess when I do that, so don't yell at me.
That sounds right to me.
They're jumping to the defense. They really are a good fan base. I think really what I'm only talking about, which is shocking because we don't do a ton of hockey, I might only be talking Blackhawks here.
Maybe I just don't have a lot of hockey people in my circle, but I've never heard anybody say anything about
I'm not pretending to be a hockey expert at all.
Stick talk.
But I do, is that what they call it?
Sure.
I do know this. Never call it the finals.
Stanley Cup, right?
No, Stanley Cup final.
Oh,
There's no
Stanley Cup
S. It is
final.
not
Gotcha.
like I
Okay.
have gotten chewed
Okay.
out more for that
sure.
than anything in my life. I will never make that mistake again. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Sharks made the final one time and lost to Sid the Kid and the Penguins. I do watch playoff hockey. I'm not pretending to be, but they were just really annoying. That whole Patrick Kane era with the Chicago, they just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But yeah, the Cubbies are great. You got you sing the Take Me Out to the Ball Game, 7th inning, Harry Carey.
Yep.
Bill Murray's a big Cubs fan.
Yep. I got the W flag.
Yeah, which is my transition to favorite stadiums.
Yeah.
Now I'm only going to mention ones that I've been to.
Okay, that's very fair.
I've been to both Levi's and Roracle.
Uh-huh.
It was a lot cooler when it was Roracle.
Yeah.
It's very corporate now.
Not a fan.
Golden One, and I'm not just saying it because we're the home of the Kings.
Yep.
Pulled off having a brand new stadium without having the feel of it being corporate.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Wrigley. You have to love the ambiance, but you also have to realize
to appreciate it in order to really.
I had seats like right behind a metal pole.
Yeah,
so I, had to
hear that a lot, right?
So
Yeah,
I had to I switched off, cocking my neck to the left or the right throughout but it was great. The Ivy,
right?
They've got a whole strip leading up to, so you start at the end and then you get to the actual stadium. So I love Wrigley, but when I say best and worst, and obviously as much as I love my A's and I love the Raiders when they were there, the Coliseum with possums living in it and all sorts of stuff.
It's
read
last
everything
with a dot.
It used to be great though. It was state of the art when it had the water in the outfield.
Pre-Mount Davis.
Pre-Mount Davis, absolutely. So those are just my general thoughts. What say you when I say best and worst stadiums?
I really only focused on the worst ones. I definitely have the Coliseum up there. Sleep Train Arena. I don't know if you ever made it out to Arco, but more specifically when it was towards the end of its tenure.
I actually did. I went one time to see a Suns-Kings game. I actually loved it. It was like a barn. It wasn't like great.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
But it was okay. It was really bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like it wasn't Coliseum bad.
It got to that point.
It did?
It got to that
maybe
point.
a little bit later.
I mean,
I want to say I was there like 4 years before it went away.
It wasn't like completely falling apart, but there was definitely points, especially because the Kings were deep in the drought at that point. Like they were having to cover up sponsors with like tarp, and you know, there's an infamous game where the tarp fell onto the floor and coach had to go out
leaking.
roof started leaking.
Best thing about Arco was the clown tunnel. Chris, you're familiar with the clown tunnel?
Yeah, the clown tunnel, which
So it wasn't one of those. It wasn't one of those. It's a dump, but it's our dump. It really just became a
to
dump.
an extent, but I think everyone got past.
It wore on, because the
Tell
Kings
me
were
about
bad
this
for
clown
so long.
tunnel.
So there's a tunnel underneath Arco that I didn't get to see until the going away party.
Yeah, that's right.
It's underneath the arena, and it's this tunnel that goes to nowhere. It goes to a wall, but it was supposed to connect to a baseball field. Because they were supposed to build a baseball field next to it.
Yep.
So it was supposed to be easy access from one to the other, right?
Yep.
Everything's connected.
Yep.
But every time the Ringley brothers would come into town, they would draw crazy stuff all over the tunnel. People would sign it. I can't even explain. I took pictures, but I can't say over the air what was on it. It was just, it was nuts. It was in.
So the tunnel never ended up leading to anything, but it was supposed to.
So scary, dude.
Yeah.
It's
It's like,
scary.
did you ever hear about the Playboy Mansion tunnel?
That sounds illegal.
Celebrities. No, this is like, you can look it up. I'm not just
Smuggling.
spitballing you. This is not an allegedly moment. By the way, we need like a drop for any time I do reckless speculation.
Yeah.
No, this was an actual thing. Like politicians and celebrities, they had a tunnel so that
Sneak out
paparazzi
without having
couldn't
them
see them
see,
going to the mansion. I'm pretty sure that was a real thing.
No, that sounds
seems like
that
it should
sounds
be
real.
a thing.
Yeah.
If not,
Absolutely. But yeah, there also, I remember I was at a Catholic dance. So when you're in high school, kids, if you're listening, probably not if you're a kid at this time. But if you're a parent and you have kids that are in high school, a key element of your application is public service or like doing stuff.
Yeah. Sure.
So one of the things that I did was a Catholic candle dance. So I learned how to do like a Catholic dance. And it was at the old Roracle. And underneath there, which we found out during a break, there is the players bar. We may or may not have been 17. We may or may not have partook in whatever was in that place. Allegedly. Again, yes, reckless speculation. But then it also led to this is when the Raiders were still playing there, Raiders A's Stadium.
Right.
So we were just on the field playing fake football, like an air football, just having fun, doing what kids do.
Right.
But that was another underneath tunnel thing. So these tunnel things are real. So this was a tunnel but most tunnels lead to something.
Yeah.
It was supposed to lead to something.
It was supposed to lead to something,
Gotcha.
but it never did because they never built out that baseball stadium. But I mean, the tunnel still exists, and I think there's a couple pictures online that you can find. But
I have a bunch I took.
Yeah, essentially
so
just the
text me.
clowns from the clowns from the
Yeah, you got my number. I want to see
wild stuff.
All right, so you've only said bad. You got any good?
I'm trying to think the best stadium. I honestly haven't been to. I mean, Oracle Park is beautiful. The AT&T Stadium, or AT&T Park, whatever you want to call.
Boy, did
the
they
Giants
strike
field.
gold.
It's beautiful.
Any Giants fan listening right now, you have no idea how close you were to being in St. Petersburg. Seriously, they were like, that was like a midnight. I mean, even closer than the Kings were to moving, the Giants were. And yeah, that's perfect. Right on the water.
It's incredible.
You know, they have the splash counter, which is mostly Barry
All
Bonds.
that. And just the the scenery is beautiful.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, I guess at this point, I took like the ferry into the stadium, and it drops you off right outside the back.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
just beautifully built,
and the whole area around it has been totally built. I've also been to old Yankee Stadium and new Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
they're both nice, but I'm more of a nostalgic guy, so I like the old Yankee Stadium. And then I went to Hard Rock in Miami.
Oh, nice.
Not exactly super nice, but great environment. They did a lot of upgrades to it.
Yes,
so
that's what I heard. They did tons of upgrades to it.
just to put a little bow on that.
I did go to American Airlines Arena in Dallas as well, and it's just massive.
I'm sure
the Moda Center as well in Portland. It feels like I sat up in the top level, looking across. Literally looked like it was like a mile and a half.
It's crazy.
across.
Well, because they're building stadiums now where it's almost like a curve.
Yes.
So
yeah,
even
it,
if you have a
goes
bad
up
seat,
and
it's
out,
a good.
yeah.
It's not the old days where it went like straight out. And
Yeah.
you felt like you were a million miles away. All right, coming up next, stock up, stock down. After week 2, we're getting a better feel for the teams. Which teams are you surprised at how bad they are, and which teams are you surprised at how well they are faring? We will do that. It is Zakariah and Watkins, Sactown Sports, 1140.
Can the Niners build off their NFC Championship appearance from last season? How will the quarterbacks perform throughout the year?
Purdy back, now going to throw for the end zone, wide open. Brandon Ayuk is on fire.
Will the defense lead this squad again?
Intercepted. Ball got tipped up and taken by Fred Warner.
Get all your 49er coverage throughout the NFL season on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Players know it's not just because you win more, it's because of everything else at Gold Country Casino Resort, where players roll in and winners are made. Winning isn't the only thing on the menu, and nightlife, it's more than entertaining. Drinks and dining options are abundant and guaranteed to satisfy your innermost desires. Come be our guests and see why Gold Country Casino Resort in Oroville is where the players play.
For a business to thrive, there needs to be a constant stream of new customers. This happens through strong lead generation. Did you know that lead generation is one of the most important tools of any marketing campaign? Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products and services to them. To get started today, contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results today.
This is Kenny and Jerry from Bell Brothers, the No Surprise Guys. If you're thinking about replacing your heating and cooling system, now is the perfect time to take action.
It's the end of summer, which means the AC season is winding down. We've still got a warehouse full of premium, high-efficiency AC systems, and we'd rather sell them at a discount than let them just sit there over the winter.
That's why we're offering this first ever end of summer discount of up to $3,500 off qualifying AC and heat pump systems.
No gimmicks, no games, just a great price for buying now instead of later. If you got a quote elsewhere, we'd be happy to give you a second opinion.
Call Bell Brothers for details and get up to $3,500 off any qualifying AC and heat pump system. Our number is 916-444-1234 or online at thenosurpriseguys.com. That's 916-444-1234 or thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Now at Staples, the prices of HP printers are dropping. Save on HP Smart Tank and enjoy even more savings on ink. Save on the HP Inkjet, perfect for high-quality pics. Save on HP laser printers, great for tackling high-volume document printing. Now through September 30th, save on Staples' entire selection of HP printers, some as low as $69.99. With HP printer price drops at Staples, now is the time to upgrade to HP, America's most trusted printer brand. See staples.com/HP for details.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Nate Littlefield. These are your Sactown Sports headlines. We had Monday Night Football yesterday. The Saints took down the Panthers by a score of 20-17, despite a mediocre game from Derek Carr, who had no touchdowns and an interception. And it was a doubleheader, so the Steelers bounced back after an embarrassing loss to the 49ers last week. Their defense dominated the Browns. The D had 2 touchdowns, a fumble recovery taken back by TJ Watt late in the game, and a pick 6 on the first play of the game by Alex Highsmith. Steelers ended up winning by 26-22. And in NBA news, Damian Lillard stated on the Is What It Is podcast that he would rather lose every year than join the Golden State Warriors. And the 76ers, as of yesterday, have signed Kelly Oubre Jr. Those are the headlines. Now we get back to the midday show with Zakariah and Watkins.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Welcome back, Sacramento. 12:30, about lunchtime. You're either in the middle or getting ready for your lunch, or maybe you've had it. Actually, I'm going to start with that. I'm curious. This is not the getting to know you part of the show, but I want to know what Chris's normal eating schedule is. So we'll do that in just like 2 seconds. Coming up at 12:45, It's called The Fifth. I plead the fifth. It is fun in the 40s. And we're going to touch on what our fabulous producer just put in the update. I hadn't heard it. Dame Lillard, who wears number 0 because he's from Oakland, said that he'd rather lose for the rest of his life than play for the Warriors. We'll touch on that and a lot more. Tony Romo did a bad impersonation. Somehow Tua is a left-handed Marino. Richard Sherman talking Bounty Gate. And no, I'm not talking Saints. That was Saints Vikings.
It was.
So we'll get into all of that as we go around the wacky world of sports in Fun in the 40s. It is Chris Watkins and Zakariah right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Join the program, shall you, 916-339-1140. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, anything that does anything. Search Sactown Sports or Sactown 1140. But real quick, before we get to stock up, stock down, we could probably split this into 2 segments, but we'll try to do it in just one. But real quickly, what is your general eating? As I try to digest, you can probably hear my voice. I just slammed down a Nutri-Grain fruit nut bar or whatever. What is your general times of eating? Because I got a buddy that lives in Michigan, and I made fun of him because he eats at like 5:30. Are you a Seinfeld guy?
No.
Okay. There's a Seinfeld episode where the parents go and get the early bird special at like 4:15. And that's their dinner. So I made fun of him because he eats at like 5:30. I usually eat dinner at like, I eat dinner at like 7:30. I have somewhat of a bagel and cream cheese or something in the morning, but not a big breakfast guy. And then lunch around 1, and then dinner at like 7:30. But what's the average hours of your 3 meals?
I usually hope to eat in the morning. Sometimes I just it's really hard for me to shop for breakfast stuff, especially because I like to get up and go. I'm not really like a get up. Oh, let me make some eggs, some bacon.
You don't have like a process where you're sitting down, reading the paper, have a cup of coffee.
I like to give myself some time before I have to head into the station. But more times than not, I wake up and then I hit the rundown and I'm like, okay, now I got to go. Oh, crap, I haven't eaten anything. And if I don't eat now, then I'm not going to eat until
2 o'clock
during the show or whatever.
Yeah.
So I try and eat sometimes, like today and I think yesterday as well. I'll stop at Starbucks on the way here and grab some sandwich or something like that. But usually a light on breakfast. I don't like to mess my stomach up. Usually ruin my whole day. Then I'll sometimes I'll eat during the breaks here around this time, 12:30 or 1 if I bring in, like a Safeway pre-made salad or something like that. But and then dinner is usually, I'm with you, like around 7:30 sometimes. Sometimes if you're not hungry, it'll be later. If you want to cook or something, it'll be 9. But usually between 7 and 9.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's get to stock up, stock down. And there's nothing better than when your partner on air tells you, I got this.
I got it.
I like that better than anything because that means I can kick back and let you run point.
Chill.
Chris, I'm just going to say, not that I know any Dolphins fans personally, but I'm just going to say a big stock up for the Fins, the protege of your San Francisco 49ers head coach, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel, who might be the most awkwardly social guy in the league, I would argue.
Yeah.
Because, Bill Belichick does it on purpose.
Yeah.
McDaniel, I feel like that's just naturally the way he is. And it's not even like bad awkward. It's just awkward.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's not even like he's like awkward, like Kyle Shanahan, that is awkward in like a standoffish,
off-putting.
Off-putting. McDaniels is almost in like a hyper relatable awkward,
like
where
a
it's
stoner.
I actually really like this guy,
like a guy that you went to college with, right?
Yes.
I feel like we all know a McDaniel.
Yeah. He's a wild card.
Yeah, but I got a big up on them. 2 wins on the road. They come back home to play Denver, but I got a big stock up on Miami. But you run the point. You let me know.
So I was thinking this. Absolutely, you're completely right in having Dolphins stock up for them. But I'm thinking more of teams or players as well that, you either had questions about, or maybe you saw some signs of something in week 1, and week 2 just definitely sent it towards a different direction.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of this more from a week 2 specific standpoint, but also just building off of week 1 thoughts.
Okay.
So for stock up, first off, let's start off with the team. I got the Seattle Seahawks who bounced back big from, you want to talk about a bad week 1 and an embarrassing week 1 loss to the Rams. The Rams pretty much dominated them. Seahawks looked terrible. And then for them to come back and beat the Detroit Lions, who, had an impressive win in week 1 against the Chiefs. They had 10 days off. They're at home for the first really big
rowdy crowd
home game in Detroit in a really long time. I thought it was a really big bounce back game from Seattle, and I expect to see more of that throughout the season from the Seahawks. And just
so you're going specifically just what happened in week 2.
Yes.
Okay. Because
How-
overall,
yes.
for the 2 games, I wouldn't have them
Oh,
stock up.
for
But
sure.
yeah, bounce
Absolutely.
back for sure.
Yes.
And also you had questions. Geno Smith is one of those guys where I feel like, is last year really what we saw?
Yes,
and the
absolutely.
Seahawks sort of made their contract towards him
Absolutely.
kind of with the same kind of feeling.
Yes. Like we can get out of this if we really
But
want
we
to.
too makes you feel like he was more like last year than he
Yes,
was early
and it
on
just
in his
makes me
career.
feel like they're heading in the right direction,
Agreed.
and I feel like that's more the direction they're going to go as opposed to week 1.
I like that.
After last night, George Pickens, man, oh man. I mean, we've heard about George Pickens' hype for about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
This offseason, training camp, preseason, it just seemed like the dude cannot make. He doesn't know how to make just a simple slant route catch and fall on the ground. Feels like every single one of his balls are always a spectacular catch, always ridiculous. And then last night had that 70-yard touchdown, had an almost completion out of bounds in week 1. That was absolutely ridiculous. George Pickens, for me, he looks like he's on his way to being in the conversation for one of the best, in the group of like 10 guys of like the elite receivers in the NFL.
2 things on that. One, I have stock down on the Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had to get 14 points from their defense to win that game,
Yes.
and they got blown out by the Niners. That game was not close. But just a little caveat reminds me of Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson would have 4 catches for like $160 and 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
But yeah, sort of like what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Not a lot of like 12-yard completions.
Not really a possession receiver.
Yeah,
not
I like
really
that.
Larry Fitzgerald.
I like that.
And then I got 2 quarterbacks here, 2 that really impressive for different reasons. Baker Mayfield. Can't believe I'm saying this. Baker's put together so far this season has been one of top tier, top 16 in NFL quarterbacks for sure. He's above average quarterback play from Baker Mayfield this season. I can't believe it.
Yeah, that looked to me like a blatant, damn near tanking.
Yes.
It's going to be a horrendous and Baker was almost like the poster child for it. You have Brady leaving.
Yeah.
You've got Bowles, who's been under scrutiny just in terms of his ability. Like, is he more of a coordinator than a coach? And it just felt like Baker being in there was just set up perfectly for them to fall flat on their face.
Because they have talent. They still got Mike Evans. They still got Chris Godwin. They got a good defense.
And you can't help but go back to when Baker had a lot of talent with him in Cleveland before the OBJ stuff, and he won a playoff game.
Right.
He's what he has way more than I always have him. I don't know if it's just because they're short white guys that like had swag or whatever, but I always have him in like the Johnny Manziel.
Absolutely.
But he's better than that. He's more focused than that. I think he works harder than that.
Yeah.
And hats off. I mean,
can't believe it.
I say it with a grin and I say it the same way that you do, but you got to tip your cap.
I cannot believe it. But he's played great through 2 games, and he's got the team at 2-0, which
100%.
I definitely didn't see. And then the other one, stock up, I got a rookie here, CJ Stroud. Just absolutely incredible in week
Interesting.
In week 2. I believe he had over 350 yards.
Okay.
And granted, his team has lost both games. They're 0-2, but CJ Stroud, 384 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's just been really impressive to me, especially, you look at last night where Bryce Young is at in his development. I think Anthony Richardson as a passer still has got a lot left to be proven. 300 yards out of CJ Stroud, 380 yards out of CJ Stroud with the talent that's around him. I say that more in terms of lack of talent.
You're grading on a curve.
Incredible. I mean, just really impressive. And I think that's something, I just didn't see the Houston Texans having an efficient or even a decent offense this year. I just didn't see it in the cards. And so, the fact that he was able to put together that performance, I'm really, really high on CJ Stroud. And I think he'd be my pick right now for Rookie of the Year.
Okay. I got to be honest. I think you're one of the few people outside of Houston that is showing love in that area. I mean, a point differential of -27, but you're right. You're grading on a curve, which you're more than welcome to do.
Yeah.
I had him as a guy going into the season where I feel like there are teams that just draft a quarterback if they're in the top 10 or 5.
Yeah.
And whereas I think most teams in those situations shouldn't get him, but if you see something I don't, I will be more than happy to admit that I'm wrong.
Impressed. I've been really, really impressed through 2 weeks.
So, we might be able to stretch that out. I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of the show, but there's a lot more stock up and stock
We can do
downs that
stock
I have.
down next.
And I'm sure you – okay, there you go. That was all stock
Or we
up.
can do your stock ups next.
Okay.
Whatever you
want.
Well,
I snuck in a little stock down just for the Steelers because even though they won last night.
Yeah.
Again, Rosie Perez, sometimes when you win, you really lose.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you lose, you really win.
Mm-hmm.
That was a losing despite winning game for me for the Steelers last night. I think this will be the first season Tomlin actually finishes below 500. All right, coming up next, it is fun in the 40s. We have a bad impersonation. We have a left-hander being compared to a right-hander with technology, AI. I mean, they can take our jobs any day, Chris. Just so you know, they plug in Zakariah and Chris Watkins, and they have a show. You know, it's a cold game. Nate, you too. Plug in producer for the show. Next thing you know, you got a robot back there, and we're sitting on our fannies at home watching Family Feud.
AI can take my job at this point. It's fine.
But you still want the paycheck.
Of course. I mean, I still got to get royalties. But
all right, we'll do fun in the 40s coming up next. You're listening to Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Nature Wood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Everyone knows Elk Grove Kia is home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new Kia. But did you also know that Elk Grove Kia is your one-stop place for used cars? I'm talking over 300 used cars available. With Kia's certified program, with its 165-point quality assurance inspection, we know peace of mind on used cars is important. And that's why we also offer extended service agreements on all our used makes and models. Most prices are under Kelley Blue Book retail. New car protection at used car prices. From used sports cars to used delivery vans, we got them all at Elk Grove Kia. And our financing folks have over 100 years of combined experience. So we approve just about everyone. No credit, little credit, bad credit, no problem. And Elk Grove Kia is proud of our don't like it, bring it back guarantee for up to 3 days or 150 miles, no questions asked. Why would you buy your used car anywhere else? So check us out online at elkgrovekia.com today.
Turn your highway into a smileway. Elk Grove Kia.
Safe Credit Union is our local community-based financial partner, and they are committed to the well-being of their members. Jason Ross here, and we all work hard to reach our financial goals, and banking with Safe helps make that a reality. Because with Safe, you always get competitive rates on savings and loans, so you can spend less and save more for your future. If you're not a member yet, give Safe a try and discover all that truly makes Safe one of the best credit unions in California. Join today at safecu.org/join. Safe Credit Union is insured by NCUA.
Sactown Sports is home to the Kings, Niners, and now the business of sports. Hosted by Kelly Brothers and brought to you by Cap Trust, offering customized, independent financial advice at captrust.com. Join Kelly Brothers, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason as they look at the business of sports every Thursday at 7:40 a.m. You want to know how sports really work? Follow the money with Kelly Brothers from Cap Trust on Sactown Sports.
At Bank of America, we asked our employees what they wanted most.
I want to work where everyone is welcome.
To have benefits that take good care of my family.
To move forward in my career. We listened and did all that and more. It's why we're proud to be Just Capital's #1 top company to work for. Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Just Capital used annual rankings that track performance across the 5 worker-related issues evaluated. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Attention, all tool shoppers. Get ready for the biggest DeWalt sale event of the year at Fasteners Inc. Sacramento this Saturday, September 23rd. We're bringing you the best deals on DeWalt products you've ever seen for one day only, including impact drivers for $59, combo kits for as low as $179, and up to $2,000 off your order with instant cashback rewards. Again, that's this Saturday only, September 23rd. Come on down and get better tools for better prices at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet. Find us at 6701 Power Inn Road and learn more at fastenersinc.net.
It's time to trade in and trade up at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com. It's all a click away.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own loan report.
Guys, Revive Men's Health Sacramento is making you this guarantee. We will improve the medical condition of your ED or low T, or we'll give you your money back. Book your free appointment today. Call 916-277-8599 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Now here's what I want you all to do for me.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
You heard the man. Call, text 916-339-1140. Check us out on YouTube, Sactown Sports. It is the one, the only Chris Watkins. I am Zakariah, coming up at the top of the hour, bringing you into the 1 o'clock portion of your day. The Niners are loaded. I think pretty much consensus, most talented team in the NFL. Is depth any sort of concern? And specifically at what positions? We'll get into that. Also some takeaways from the Niners in week 2. Little ESPN story, the 4-letter network. Well, I guess not everything's a 4-letter network because there's Fox.
Yep.
So that's only 3.
ABC.
So
NBC,
are they the only 4? Is that why it's called the 4-letter network?
I think so.
Again, learning something new every day. Oh, I got as we read from the text line, somebody called me out from the 916. Sometimes when they call me out, I want to read the whole number just so people will flood their text.
You shouldn't do that.
I get fired for that.
Definitely should not.
I can say 916 though. Oh, little known fun story because I love to go off track. I was at a football game once, and there was an attractive lady standing in line, and I, shot my shot, if you will, as the kids say. Ended up being Alex Smith's fiance. I don't know if
so. It didn't go well.
She gave me, and I thought that I was good to go. So there are 7 and 9 is 10, right? I mean, 7 and 3 is 10, right?
Yeah, I was like, no, that's not correct.
So she gave me 9 of the 10 digits. I thought I'd be good to go. It's not that simple. It's not just doing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe she gave me, she gave me 6 of the 10 or something. Whatever it was impossible for me to get it. And at the time I thought that I was going to get it. And that's why she gave it to me. Anyways.
I mean, who even knows if those 6 numbers she gave you were right?
I think she did. And she was smarter than me. So she knew it would take me a million years for me to figure it out. Anyways, from the 916, this guy's on sports radio and doesn't know what a jug machine is. Must not have been much of an athlete. All right, put it on the poll. Do you know what a jug machine is? I want to see the results. Do you guys do polls? Are you poll guys?
Yeah, we can do it on YouTube.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
Also, like a jug machine. Not every school can afford that.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so this is a privileged shot at me.
Yeah, this is.
I mean,
this guy's from Rockland, clearly, Granite Bay.
I mean, I never have used a jugs machine. I just, I know the term just off of
Hard Knocks or something.
No, I mean, I think it's just.
You think it's fairly common
knowledge? I don't want to say it's common knowledge when you guys don't know it, but it feels like honesty. It is.
Okay. I could be wrong. Maybe most
common
people know
vernacular,
that.
I guess I would say. I wouldn't say knowledge, but I would say it's common vernacular.
Fair enough. Who doesn't love a Fallout Boy? Well, I'll tell you, Live Nation has teamed up with Sactown Sports for your chance to see Fallout Boy at Golden One Center. You got time to prep because it's not till March 3rd, 2024. But if you are a Fallout Boy fan, there's more information at SactownSports.com. And right now, if you caller number 11, actually, we'll do caller number 23 because that's Chris's favorite number. Yep. 23 callers you have to get through, so maybe take your time. But 916-339-1140. Again, if you are a Fallout Boy fan, 916-339-1140. Caller number 23 will get you in the building.
I feel like you just unlocked
too big of a number.
That's just never been unlocked before.
Well, the phone lines are blowing up. So
okay,
you know what I'm saying?
That is true. Yeah, they're lighting up right now. So
if you're a Fallout Boy fan, call on in.
Yeah, better hurry up.
All right. So fun in the 40s, Chris. That's what we like to do. Lighten it up at the end of every hour. And what do you? First of all, let me just ask you because I feel like there's not really a middle of the road answer on this. Your feelings when I say Tony Romo.
Fine quarterback, and I think he's a good but not as great as everyone's made him out to be announcer.
Okay. Yeah, because he got a lot of hype early on.
Everyone loved him. Everyone was like, this is revolutionary.
Well, because he was calling the plays.
Yeah.
And that nothing gets a fan more riled up than when somebody predicts something before they happen. That's why gambling is so popular. But then also he kind of got exposed last year for not having
he doesn't have the answers anymore.
Well, also he had lack of fundamental knowledge about the teams and the place where he was. He was showing that he didn't do a ton of prep.
Yeah.
And we all know prep is important.
It's
anytime that you're on air. You don't want to be exposed. But actually, I put us in a precarious situation here, Chris, as our fine producer is answering phone calls for Fallout Boy, as I was going to toss the sound. But I'll just describe the sound anyway. It was basically Tony Romo impersonating Dan Quinn and Jim Nance, his fine partner. Okay, here we go. Here is Tony Romo.
There it is. Good job. Good job. Come on. The body language. Come. No, one more. Yeah, baby. All right. Sounds just like him. Told you guys. Let's go. All right.
Never let it be lost on you that was completely sarcastic. Jim Nance, you probably have gone through this. We've only worked a show and a half together.
Yeah.
You've probably had numerous situations where you're thinking in your head, what am I going to react to this nonsense? And what he did was say, perfect Jim Nance, by the way. Sounds just like him. Clearly being sarcastic.
Yeah.
That was awful. I don't know what Dan Quinn sounds like. Maybe it was a great impersonation,
Yeah.
but I think Jim Nance was along with the rest of the world in knowing that was awful. But yeah, I'm with you. Tony Romo got a lot of hype early, and then I think he got a lot of flag. It's one of those build him up, tear him down.
Yes.
And I think he's somewhere in the middle. I don't think he's a bad commentator by any stretch, but I don't think he was this like revolutionizing,
I think it was just the energy he brought, like
Yes.
kind of like that impersonation, like
which you
speaks
appreciate.
to. Yeah, like, he's not dead in the booth. It doesn't seem like he's falling asleep or trying to teach us like a religion school or something like, just like, hey, this is actually X's and O's of football.
Yeah,
And it's like,
the A gap
like
and,
a little,
more
Phil
of an
Simms
every
would kinda
guy
get like that.
kinda
Exactly.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's more what people appreciate him, but I think it's still, I think he's caught a lot of flack over the years, but I really like Troy Aikman and Joe Buck calling football games.
Yeah, I think all of the musical chairs, which has happened with Al Michaels, and I mean, they've been moving guys around. They brought in Kirk Herbstreit from doing college stuff. There's been a lot of musical chairs, but as long as you find your magic, it's funny because just because you were great on the field does not mean that it translates to the booth. Dan Marino comes to mind. Emmitt Smith comes to mind. I mean, not to call these guys out by name, but I'm just saying, just because you were great on the field does not mean that it translates.
I'm looking at you, Tom Brady.
So here was a weird thing. We got AI, we got technology, we got Photoshop. People think that sharks are like in the middle of malls in Florida, which actually could be true for Florida.
Yeah.
Nothing would surprise me there.
Trust me.
But it's tough to trust what you see on the internet. But they did this flip. Basically, I mean, you can do it on your camera, so I guess this is not like high-level technology. But they flipped Tua, who's a lefty, to look like another Dolphin great quarterback, Dan Marino. And here is the sound on that. Oh, we don't have sound on that. Oh, okay. Well, Collinsworth showed
Sounds
it,
more
basically.
like a visual medium anyway.
Yeah, well, no, he was describing how they did it, and it is funny because for me, anything lefty, for some people, it's off-putting. To me, it always looks better, especially in basketball.
Yes, I agree.
A lefty jumper in basketball is always prettier to me than a righty.
Absolutely. Yeah, it just looks smoother. It feels like they have better touch for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but lefties maybe it's just because it's different and it looks jarring to our eyes. But I've always thought that lefties are a cheat code, is what I call them.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was, of all things, harping on Matt Olson's swing. Matt Olson, great on the A's, traded to the Braves. He's got like 1 million home runs.
52, I think.
I don't know if you remember RBI baseball for Nintendo, but there was a player that was just like him. It's this long looping swing, but lefties can do no wrong in my eyes. Like even a lefty with a bad jumper looks better than sometimes a righty with an ugly good jumper.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know what it is about us. Maybe it's just, maybe it's something simple as we're humans and there's something in our brain that, again, just kind of thinks, oh, that's unusual. It just looks better. But I've always been right there with you. Lefties are just, some about them, they just seem like they're more finesse and that they just have a better feel for the game for whatever reason.
And I cannot go through a show, and I will continue to do so, probably as long as he's undefeated. Love me some Neon Dion Primetime Sanders.
Yeah.
But there was an ugly hit that we talked about, 2 ugly hits, because I was talking about one. You guys were talking about another one. Here's Richard Sherman talking bounty gate, Chris.
What's most frustrating to me is that you had the comment by the anonymous DC last week, like, hey, we're going to take Travis Hunter out. We're going to run our receiver out. We're going to block him out. And then all of a sudden you get into a game where the ball hits the ground and then you take him out after the play. Like, if it's a normal football play, everybody that steps between those lines understands.
We're all right with that.
We all right with that. Hey, I'm taking this risk. I'm going out here. What I'm not all right with is, hey, ball hit the ground, whistle blown, you taking a shot, and it sends the wrong message to the kids. It's like, hey,
stand over
like you didn't done something.
Me out within the legal game.
But it's like, hey, what you, by not suspending him, by not making an example out of him, you're saying, hey, y'all want to get a star player out of the game? As soon as the ball hit the ground, take your shot. It might be a 15-yard penalty, but you just lost your best player. And not only did you lose him for this game, this following game, you lost him for 4 weeks. And it's just, and the kid that has no punishment. And it makes me feel like they set a bounty out. They did something. They talked about this. That kid didn't go out there roll.
It smelled like that to me.
But,
yeah.
Bounty. Can't throw that around loosely, but here is the player that supposedly had the bounty on him, and he doesn't feel the same way.
It's football, though. At the end of the day, stuff like that's going to happen. So I just stay humble. I mean, hey, you did what he was supposed to do. It's football. Something bad's going to happen on the field sooner or later. You just got to get up and fight again. That's what I try to do, get up and fight. Good thing the doctors stopped me, because if there was no doctors there, I would have still been out there playing. But I'm thankful for everybody that helped me that day. Yeah, boy, it's going to be a speedy recovery.
Wow. I mean, good on him.
I think
taking
you
the
and I
high
are
road
on the
there.
same page here. I lean more towards what Richard Sherman was saying than the actual player that got hurt himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you for Travis Hunter for being so, again, taking the high road.
Being the bigger man, for
exactly,
sure.
Because, that kid, from what I hear, it sounds like he's been getting tons of death threats and, like, really scary stuff that's just definitely over the top. But, yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like there was a lot to be upset about from that hit. Like, it was very unnecessary. It was after the play, and I actually really agree with what Richard Sherman, and I can't believe I'm saying this, what Skip Bayless said as well. Like, it was the fact that he stood over him after he knocked him out and was like, yeah, like, I really just, that was clean. That was a nice hit. I should be, it's something to be proud of. And it was just, it felt dirty in the moment. It felt wrong. It felt like something that really needed to be punished in the moment. And it went without any punishment. And the only punishment was actually by Travis Hunter, who, they point out is going to miss the next couple of weeks of football.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is a classic case of a guy saying something different than how he feels. And I respect that, because sometimes you can't say exactly what's on your mind. He took the high road, but that was
a sophomore. And
I got to disagree. That was not football. I think we can all agree, especially with all the stuff leading up to the game. Like, there was a lot of hype leading up to the game with the Colorado State coach talking about proper manners. And, you could tell that they were really up for that game, as they made it a lot more competitive than people thought. All right, coming up, final hour, 49ers. Everything is roses and rose petals and rainbows and unicorns and Skittles, all that good stuff. But is there some concern if, God forbid, you have to get into the second level of your fantastically talented squad, the San Francisco 49ers? We'll talk about that as their next game is right around the corner come Thursday night. But we'll tackle that and a lot more. You're listening to Sactown Sports, Zakariah and Watkins on 1140.
Can Mike Brown build on last season's Coach of the Year award? Can the Kings exceed 48 wins?
We will be better prepared to make the run that we expect to run come next playoff.
Tune into every Kings game this season on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Model Year End pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the Model Year End event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy Heating and Air. It's the end of summer blowout on all their systems. Right now, $2,500 off full systems, as low as $34 a week. And now American Energy Heating and Air offering a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high-efficiency units. Look, the uncomfortable becomes comfortable with American Energy Heating and Air. They've been around since 1981, making the greater Sacramento area proud with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And as always, their goal is to exceed your expectations, exceed them of the heating and air industry, valuing the customer experience and making your home comfortable. It's that simple. Go to American Energy Heating and Air and get yourself a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high-efficiency units.
Call 916-520-9998 now. I want you to want me.
Gold Country Casino Resort in Oroville presents Cheap Trick live Saturday, October 21st. Get your tickets now at goldcountrycasino.com. Cheap Trick, October 21st at 8 p.m.
Gold Country Casino Resort.
Must be 21 or older.
Did you know addiction to drugs like meth or cocaine is a disease and not a choice? But getting help is. If you have stimulant use disorder, you, your family, and friends may have a lot of questions, including where to start. Choose Change California can help. Make a change today and find a proven treatment option for you at choosechangeca.org.
It's no secret to golf enthusiasts that Timber Creek and Sierra Pines in Roseville are one of the region's most unique and scenic places to enjoy a great game of golf. 27 holes, boundless options. Elevate your game on our newly renovated driving range, putting green, and chipping area. Whether you're aiming for fun, lower scores, or all-around growth, we've got you covered. Experience golfing dreams in Roseville and book your tee time at timbercreekgc.com. Timber Creek and Sierra Pines, your ultimate golf haven.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sactown Sports.
Live and local.
Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Yes, sir. Hello, Sacramento. It is Sactown Sports alongside Chris Watkins. I am Zakariah. 3 hours in the books, 1 to go. Nate behind the glass helping us out with sound and whatnot. We have a fantastic hour as far as I'm concerned. We are going to get into 49ers depth, as I said that we would. It's the one area of concern. Picking nits here, but when you're going as well as they're going, 2-0, both wins on the road, it's not to be Debbie Downer. It's just to point out some things that, when you're only talking positive, it's not that I love to be negative, Chris, at all. But when you're only talking positive, sometimes it's good to look at. And I'm sure coaches are never happy. Players are never happy. So we're not the only ones doing it. But if you were to look at one area, and we talked about this earlier with Mr. Biderman in terms of what area are you concerned about? He said the right portion of the offensive line.
Absolutely.
We've talked about how they have cap space to make a move in that area should they want to, but also just the lack of depth, I would say. Backup offensive linemen, I think that they've seen enough out of Darnold to be confident if, God forbid, Purdy should miss any time. But is there any concern for you, for a team that I think unanimously across the league, people point at, pundits, players, coaches, front offices, as having the most amount of talent on it?
Yeah.
Are they top heavy, or should there be no concern in terms of their depth for the guys that would need to step up should they have to?
I'm trying to think how I want to best phrase this, but I do think they are top heavy, but at the same time, which is a contradiction, but at the same time, they have so many stars that it's almost like they have depth because of how top heavy they are. If that makes sense. Like if
No, I
Debo's-
know what you mean.
It's they're almost so top heavy that it doesn't matter.
That the top heavy is their depth.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I got you. I know
Because
exactly what you're talking about.
If Deebo Samuel goes down, oh no, that's their best receiver. That's their number one
Yeah.
receiver. Well, they still have Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
They still have George Kittle.
Yep.
They still have Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
Let's say Christian McCaffrey goes down. That's the best running back in the NFL. Well, you probably have one of, if not the best backup, in my opinion, in the NFL, and Elijah Mitchell. Like, he's proven himself to be a really capable back, especially in this offense with Kyle Shanahan. We know how the Shanahan system does for running backs and what it does. So I don't have many concerns about there. Sam Darnold, we just had to go through this entire preseason of figuring out, is Sam Darnold a good enough replacement? There's a lot of people who feel like Sam Darnold would perform just as well as Brock Purdy is in this system. I'm not one of those people, but I think that you can definitely do worse. That if Brock Purdy goes down, having in Sam Darnold is a lot better than throwing in some of the other guys that other teams have as their backup. So I personally think that their offensive line depth is really the thing I look at. Biderman talked about it a lot, but when you watch the 49ers preseason games, a lot of the time their backups were under duress the entire time. I mean, that was really the biggest problem with Trey Lance in that first preseason game. He didn't even get a good look because the offensive line was just completely bull rushed the entire time, and you couldn't even really get a feel for how good the offense was because of how bad the offensive line was. So that's definitely my biggest concern, especially if a guy like Trent Williams goes down. You don't have that luxury like I was talking about with Debo, where you have three other guys who are going to pick up that slack. You just can't really afford any offensive line injury if you're the Niners.
916-339-1140. You can call or text. Check us out on YouTube, Sactown Sports. I'm on Twitter at Zach Sports, ZAK Sports. He's at Chris M. Watkins. Couple of things popped in my head. I always love when that happens when you're doing sports radio, when someone else is talking and it makes you think about something else. Honestly, that's a great answer. And I hope that the people listening can kind of understand what that means, is that you could have concern about the depth, but when you have so much at the top, that almost is your depth.
Yes.
Whereas you can, because honestly, not only was he my favorite, and this is only for like a sports radio host that really appreciates it. I mean, fans love like the really dramatic press conferences, like I'm only here so I won't get fined.
Right.
Or, we're talking about practice or playoffs, or we are who they thought they were. But when you and I go into the weeds as much as we do, Juwan Jennings, I loved his, I don't know if you saw the clips,
I
but
did not.
he seems like a guy, oftentimes in, I think probably all areas of life, we often only relate it to sports or our own personal thing, but in all areas of life, there are people that don't really know what their role is.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I think the best that you can do as a human as you progress is know what your role is when you have that role. He seems to know what it is, and he seems so laid back and chill and almost like appreciative of where he's at, being, you would call him the third wide receiver, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And he impressed me a lot. When his number's called or when Brock makes the reads down to, the progression and he's the guy, he's impressed me. But, for instance, if somebody like that would go down, they would have him to step up.
Yeah.
And, I do think when you mentioned the Sam Darnold thing, the first thing that popped in my head was Geno Smith, a guy that was drafted high, both Jets, by the way. They've ran through a lot of
Probably not a
quarterbacks,
coincidence.
but a guy that I think probably matured and learned a ton in his time. I think he purposely went to the Niners to be like, if you're not going to be a starter, or even if you could be a starter for a bad team, I'd rather be a backup for a great team.
Yes.
I don't know if that's crazy.
No, I don't think so.
It's like I would rather be around greatness and be able to, like, if I'm put in that position, show how good I am.
Exactly.
Then start for a horrible team and everybody just think that I was as bad as I was going in there.
Right.
So I don't see that as a huge knock. But also you sent over an article talking about takeaways from week 2. I think we both agree when you lose or when you win ugly, it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
And sometimes
you need to win ugly sometimes.
And sometimes losing pretty is ugly. You can walk away from a game where you're like, we went toe to toe with them,
right?
And they just they had us that day. But you can still feel good about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. I mean, I think that you can definitely, to your point, you can feel good about losses that really sting. Like you said, I think I'm not going to use never mind. I'm not going to use the example I was going to use because it was a playoff example and one team actually does lose really bad. But you can still play well and feel good about where your team is at in the season. Like the Niners are going to play the Cowboys in week 5. Well, those are maybe the two best teams in terms of how they're playing right now in the NFL. If the Niners lose that game, but it's 33-30 and it's a game-winning kick by the Cowboys, yeah, it's going to sting. It's not going to feel great that you lost to a team that you're directly competing with. But at the same time, if that's how that game shakes out, you got to feel pretty good that if you do face that team again, you had success against them, and there's a path to victory that you can parcel out of it.
And obviously, this is a scenario where I think for Niners fans, injuries, I don't know, it might be myopic because it's the team, we're the home of the Niners. And maybe every fan base feels like that, or everybody that covers a team in their city feels the same way. But that NFC Championship game left such a sour taste in everybody's mouths. I think even if you hated the Niners, like let's say you're a Cowboys fan and you were, who were the Cowboys fans rooting for in that game? Because the Eagles are their division rival.
Probably the Niners. If I had to guess.
Man, I wish we were in Dallas.
I think it's
right
one
now
of those
so we could
I
put
wish
that
both
on the
teams
poll.
just lose.
Yeah. There's some that are worse. They say worse stuff than that.
Yes.
But yeah. That is, wow. That's a great question. Because you got to hate the Eagles if you're a Cowboys fan, but it almost feels like they've played the Niners more in the playoffs.
Well, the Niners directly eliminated them as well. So they're probably not thrilled about. Again, I think it's probably.
Sorry, my mind's
you can
wandering.
Definitely be rooting for both teams.
I have a few friends that are Cowboys fans. I'm gonna text them after the show.
Yeah,
how's that for another 22-hour tease?
There we go.
I'll bring that to you tomorrow. But yeah, regardless, I don't think anybody wanted it to go down like that.
No,
nobody wanted to see Debo asking CMC if he could play quarterback, and not kidding.
Yeah,
like if you watch the footage on that, he goes to him. And there's not like a smile on his face.
Yeah.
Like they might have gotten to the point where like this game is over and I'm joking around asking if you can play quarterback. He was dead bleep serious.
Yes.
Like, can you play quarterback? Nobody wanted to play out like that. So I think maybe it's kind of near and dear to Niners fans' hearts in terms of the injury bug. But I don't think the depth is a huge issue. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, let's say it happens to one position group. The other position groups are so good they can make up for lacking in one area.
Yeah. I mean, even when we were concerned if Nick Bosa was going to be able to play this season, like there's still talent on that defensive line. Now, would they be near the elite level that they're at now? Absolutely not. Nick Bosa, even though he hasn't registered a sack, he's had the highest PFF grade of any defensive edge rusher. And so he's still finding impact even without reaching the quarterback. But the 49ers, they're so stacked. Like I'm not a 49ers fan. I before this season, before we had to start covering them, I wasn't really checking up on them that much, but I even have to admit, like they are the class of the NFL right now. When 100%. You just look at head to toe talent, like it's undeniable that they should feel like they have Super Bowl aspirations this year, like legitimate winning the Super Bowl aspirations, because the talent speaks for itself.
And if you go to the geeky salary cap websites to figure out how much room they have this year and next year, I mean, John Lynch should win GM of the year every year as far as I'm concerned, because it is so balanced compared to other teams. And obviously a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're paying Purdy on a rookie contract. Coming up next, week 2 is officially in the books after 2 Monday Night Football games last night. Tons of controversy. Everybody caught bullets. Adam Schefter, ABC and ESPN, and certainly Deshaun Watson. We will revisit Monday Night Football and much, much more. You're listening to Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports, 1140.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Who do they decide on for the Super Bowl?
What do you mean, halftime act?
Yeah. I know that Taylor Swift.
Yeah, turned them down, right?
At what point do people turn on Taylor Swift to be like, why don't you lower your prices? And I understand the whole Ticketmaster thing, but what about the merch? Like, legit, do you have to make $1 billion? Could you make 500 million? Could you?
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson, retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad that those arch supports are in my shoes. I had terrible foot issues that prevented me from really having a normal life with my kids. With the Good Feet arch supports, man, I'm always ready. My kids actually got to enjoy me in the yard more, racing each other, backpedaling, teaching them some things, being a dad. If I had known about the Good Feet arch support earlier, I would have more than one championship. I would have 2 championship rings.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Welcome back, Sacramento. It is Sactown Sports 1140. Alongside Chris Watkins, I am Zakariah. Coming up bottom of the hour, a little more because we didn't get into enough. Stock up, stock down from week 2 as it is officially in the books, Chris, as last night we had a doubleheader, which, again, I'm learning all this stuff on the fly, and I think executives are as well. I don't think anybody knows anything in terms of who's watching where, whether or not they cut the cord or they have this subscription you have to add on ESPN or Fox. I mean, whatever people are doing, I don't think there's a lot of people that know what anything is because all of this stuff, technology, as much as I love it, it's a gift and a curse. And oftentimes you don't know where things are going. Like I know even in our business, it's tough to know like what the actual, like how you determine or measure whether or not it's going well. And then obviously advertisers, as we talked about, Adam Silver and, sponsors and partnerships and all that stuff. I think everybody's kind of learning on the fly. And there's even an article about it where they're saying that ESPN and ABC is trying to figure out how are you splitting everything up and where's it coming from. Right. But usually in the past, and this is not get off my lawn because it was recently, it would be opening week where you had 2 Monday Night Football games. This year it was week 2 where they did it. They're going to do it again next week and then later in the year. And a lot of people were upset about the split screen and all that good stuff. But in terms of your personal Chris Watkins viewing experience, did you have any strong feelings one way or the other? Because I wasn't bothered by it at all.
No, I wasn't bothered by it at all. I thought it was actually beneficial. Beneficial to my watching experience. Like I said, I learned that the Steelers game started because they cut in and it showed the pick 6. And I was like, okay, let me tune into the Steelers game. As I was tuning into the Steelers game, didn't really want to watch the Carolina New Orleans game and got all the necessary updates that I felt maybe a time or two they cut in where I felt like they didn't need to. But for the most part, it was like watching a red zone channel, it's just, that's what I want, especially from maybe we're in a different position where, it's beneficial for us to know everything that's happening in both games. But I just thought it was useful information to know. Absolutely. If somebody's in the red zone and going to score, whether it be for fantasy purposes, whether it be for us gathering information or just general intrigue, there's a lot of stoppages in football games. It's great for me. I don't see what the downside is of showing more action, especially if it's done in an efficient manner on the screen.
So from what I can gather, the big complaint was, hey, ABC, I know that there's another game going on. You don't need to remind me with the split screen. If I want to watch that game, I can flip over. I've never had a problem. I'm a guy that in how much am I aging myself? What was the Rockets-Knicks finals when OJ?
99.
When did the OJ?
Oh, that was
97, 98 or something? 96. Anyways, we had to watch that damn white Bronco go up and down the freeway the whole time when it was a big game in the finals between the Knicks and the Rockets. We'll look that up. Anyways, I didn't have a problem then, and that was back when you were looking at a little TV. Nowadays, as I said before, I am poor, so I'm not speaking from a rich man's perspective. 65-inch TVs are cheap. The split screen's not a big deal. And to be honest with you, it was less annoying than me having to hit the back and forth button.
Right. June 17th, 1994.
1994. I was 10 to 11 years old.
Nice.
And I had to just look at a car and I didn't really understand the broad scope that it would become.
Yeah.
But it was messing with my NBA Finals game on NBC.
Right.
And so my whole point is nowadays the TVs are so big, and honestly, I liked it. Like if they had just done both games side by side and I could like switch the audio and have it on the TV, no big deal. Now, if you have a small TV and you have to split it and you're only interested in one game,
yeah,
I get it. In this instance, I didn't understand it.
So you directly saw these complaints about
yes, everybody, the commonality of all the comments were, hello, ABC and ESPN. I know that there is another game. If I wanted to watch it, I would switch the channel.
I've got a follow-up question.
Yes. Okay.
Were these complaints made via Facebook? Because
just
that feels like the demographic to me.
Well, I mean, it was common. I don't know like how many
this feels
people.
Very much like a 50-plus-year-old complaint.
It was the majority of the people.
I think a lot of people who are in more our age range, whether it be from 40 to people in their 20s or even teens, like I think
care.
Anyone in college, no, I feel like we've came up growing up on multiple screens, whether it be, watching YouTube and multitasking or just living again in a 4-box world or in watching Red Zone for our entire lives, or you go to Buffalo Wild Wings and they got all those television. Like, I feel like for them, I'm just really surprised to hear that many people were complaining, because it just, to me, it feels like this is where we've been from a sports watching perspective for the past couple of years. Again, like I think Red Zone has really changed a lot of people's viewing habits.
I think it's a split between the have and the have-nots. I think the have is that they had 2 screens, so they didn't want to be bothered with it being cut in half because they could see both. And then the other ones that maybe just don't have a huge TV and they didn't care about the other game and they didn't want it to be interrupted. But I'm telling you,
get a bigger TV.
The majority,
that's what I would say.
The majority of the people had an issue with it. Now, another thing that people had an issue with, because everybody's looking for an issue to be had with, Adam Schefter. Now, this guy, first of all, when I went to Cal, I took mass communications, media studies. One of the fields is journalism. It's not that I take journalism seriously, but I try to, as I say, preface it with reckless speculation or allegedly before I say anything. So I take it semi-seriously in that you shouldn't be flippant with throwing out things unless you're 100% positive and you've done the actual work to know that it's true. But Schefter's got to get killed on because on one side of the coin, you've got to be accurate, right? On the other side of the coin, you've got to be immediate because everybody's trying to get the scoop.
Yes.
Quote unquote. Now, one issue that I did have with Schefter is when he sent to the president of the time or whatever of the Washington team, whatever they were being called at the time, he ran a full article by him and asked him if it was okay for him to publish that. Got an issue with that because that's not journalism. Right. If you're running it by the person that it's on, he's like, everything looked good here, as in like, I'll take out whatever you want or add whatever you want. I have an issue. But last night he got crushed because this was his tweet. He said, Nick Chubb dislocated his left knee and tore his MCL, PCL, and LCL with cartilage damage on October 10th, 2015 versus Tennessee. He injured the same knee tonight versus Pittsburgh. He got killed for it because if you just read the beginning, you think that that's what he hurt that night. And so everybody was saying that he should have led with on October 10th, 2015 versus Tennessee. He tore this and then said he injured the same knee tonight. I'm not going to crush a guy for trying to be the first at everything and putting it in the wrong order.
I thought it was bad. Personally,
really?
Yes, I thought it was bad because
you're going to be with the mob on this one.
I have Adam Schefter tweet notifications up, like I think a lot of people do, especially in our business, and I just thought what was the purpose of the tweet? Like I think everybody had already seen the injury, and it was about 15 to 20 minutes later when everyone's expecting an update, and it was like a Magic Johnson tweet where it was like, what? Okay, like I guess that's a fact, but what was the purpose of it? Like he said he tore this, and
you're
this.
Going from a totally different angle. You're saying, why did you even send that out? Because you're not actually giving us an update.
Yeah, like it's just not information. Like Adam Schefter is meant to be a newsbreaker. I don't view sure maybe the term journalist is maybe expanded.
No, I got you.
But
I hadn't looked at it like that.
I
In terms of that, he didn't offer any breaking news information.
No, it just is. I mean, again, everybody's watching that game, I assume, or for the most part. I think a lot of people who follow Adam Schefter on Twitter are also watching that game or have access to other tweets.
Are you going to go conspiracy theory on me and tell me that he purposely worded it like that?
No.
You just think it was
I just think it was a poorly tweeted thing, and it was just unnecessary. It's a little bit tone deaf too. It's just, okay.
See, people weren't complaining about that. They were just complaining about the order in which it was delivered.
I mean, that also
I'm with you.
Isn't great.
I mean, you're right. He didn't offer anything.
Well,
we all know what happened versus Tennessee, and we all know that he hurt the same knee last night.
And I do have an issue with the word, like how he worded it, because I do think he should have put in October 20th. Because again, everyone is looking for an update at that time, and all you see is Nick Chubb. Torn MCL,
and
ACL,
comes after.
PCL, CCL, DCL, ZZL, like all of it. Like and it was like, okay, like so if you just are, and granted, this is a problem with how we ingest news nowadays, but you're just scrolling through and that's all you see. You don't have the too long didn't read TLDR. Like you see those buzzwords and you see Nick Chubb and you're like, dang, he tore all that stuff, and you keep it moving. It's just, as a news breaker and understanding that that's your role.
# be better.
You got to be better. You got to know that people are going to look at it, and you're not spreading misinformation, but in a way, like you are leading to people being misinformed.
You presented your side of the case. You have gotten me from 0% upset about it to about, I'll give you like a third. I'm a third of the way there now. I'm still
really
not going to crush
super
them.
Upset, but
I mean, people send so much stuff. This wasn't that egregious, but I'm with you.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying, and Magic Johnson's a perfect example. Nobody texts things that are more obvious than Magic Johnson.
Yes.
The guy will literally say, the sky is blue.
Yes.
Have a happy day.
Great job,
It's
LeBron James.
Yes,
He beat the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scoring record today. And it's like
we all know that.
Thank you, Magic.
Thank you, Magic.
Appreciate it.
Steak is delicious. I guess
it is.
I guess not to vegetarians. All right, coming up next, we didn't get enough into stock up, stock down. So we will do that at the bottom of the hour. You're listening to Zakariah, Chris Watkins, Sactown Sports, 1140.
Has Monty put together a roster that can help make a deep playoff run this season?
Just trying to give coach options, give him guys that can help us win in a variety of areas. Obviously, our top guys are going to play every game, but there's going to be other times, whether it's injuries, matchups, we've got to have some variety on the bench for coach to point to and say, go in there and help us win.
Tune into every Kings game this season
on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Your Tuesday forecast includes mostly sunny skies and a nice afternoon for working outdoors. Expect highs in the lower to mid 80s with overnight lows backing off to the upper 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Imagine taking a nice warm bath in your shower. Let us fix that. Right now, get that clogged drain unclogged for just $97. Bonnie, plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696-355.
Safe Credit Union is our local community-based financial partner, and they are committed to the well-being of their members. Jason Ross here, and we all work hard to reach our financial goals, and banking with Safe helps make that a reality. Because with Safe, you always get competitive rates on savings and loans, so you can spend less and save more for your future. If you're not a member yet, give Safe a try and discover all that truly makes Safe one of the best credit unions in California. Join today at safecu.org/join. Safe Credit Union is insured by NCUA.
Attention, all tool shoppers. Get ready for the biggest DeWalt sale event of the year at Fasteners Inc. Sacramento this Saturday, September 23rd. We're bringing you the best deals on DeWalt products you've ever seen for one day only, including impact drivers for $59, combo kits for as low as $179, and up to $2,000 off your order with instant cashback rewards. Again, that's this Saturday only, September 23rd. Come on down and get better tools for better prices at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet. Find us at 6701 Power End Road and learn more at fastenersinc.net.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swift for Power Mop.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better, and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services. We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports' IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com and sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's film at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
You know what time it is. It's time to trade up to a brand new Kia at Folsom Lake Kia. Trade up to the newest technology with a low payment shop. Folsom Lake Kia, family owned for over 20 years.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Well, saxophone? That's what I'm talking about. Bottom of your 1 o'clock hour. It is Sactown Sports alongside Chris Watkins. I am Zakariah. Coming up at 1:45, we'll check in with the one, the only, Whitey. His first show with Gary Sharp was very sharp. God, I'm corny. Are you corny? I'm super corny.
I try to not be, but
I lean into it. I love, like, the whole pun intended. It's always pun intended with me.
Yeah.
It's never, well, sometimes it'll happen to be pun not intended. But normally, I don't know. I like corny. To me, it's not corny. It's fun.
I'm a big fat cornball.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Join the cornball crew.
Sometimes it's the funniest when other people don't laugh.
Yeah.
Like, you get someone and you just sit there and just kind of let it sit.
Yeah.
I think about that later and it makes me giggle. Yeah.
As we've learned, you are Seth MacFarlane's long lost brother.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I do it and I know it's not funny, but sometimes, like, I don't care whether or not you find it funny. I find it.
That's all that matters. Yeah.
Hopefully you find the ZW show along with Whitey funny in the crosstalk. We'll talk to him about his experience doing. I know it's always hard doing a show via remote. Did you do any shows during COVID?
I didn't.
No.
I've had to do a couple of remote ones this past like month and a half. With
not a lot of fun.
Everything in flux and everything.
Because we always do like nonverbal communication.
Yeah. Well, it's just tough because it's tough to like get an energy, like you can kind of tell when someone's trailing off and things like that, and
looking at something else.
I've always really struggled with like having Zoom conversations in the first place, especially when COVID was going on. It always just felt awkward. Like
funny stories from that though. I mean, some like graphic story where like guys were like half naked. And
Yeah.
only their waist up was showing, and then they like stood up but
I
thought they
still
hit
love
the off
that,
button on. It's a dangerous game, Chris.
I still love I think it was a congressman or something who was like, he had like the cat filter on and he couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And he's like,
I haven't seen that.
I'm not a cat. Just so everyone knows, I am not a cat.
I am not a crook.
It's incredible.
I am not a crook. All right, let's do some stock up, stock down. I will let you lead this. I have one. It's a flag on me. We need to get a sound for that. Just put it in the folder. Just crazy Zakariah sound. We need a flag of like a whistle being blown, like when the flag is thrown. Because this is a 10-yarder on me. We have 5, 10, and 15 varieties. This is a 10-yarder on me because I kind of went. You were doing only stock up.
Yes.
Now you got some downs.
Yeah.
I mixed the ups and the downs. I'm going to do it again on this segment. So
Do you
I'm
guys want
asking
a bed for this too? Like play some, I don't know, some finance music in the background?
Yeah. Finance.
Up to Chris.
Oh, it's because stock up,
stock up, stock down,
I was like, Nate, first off, what even?
No,
Nate.
That's McFarlane for you.
Nate, can you please put some
Can you
finance
find
music?
some finance
Whatever
music?
finance
Some
music
finance
is,
music.
I really want to
For
hear
sure.
what you would
Give me
call
one
finance
second.
music. Please.
You lead the way, sir. I have mine. It'll either be up or down. But you go ahead.
My stock down, so I gave all my stock ups for those who didn't hear. Was CJ Stroud, George Pickens last night, Mr. Baker Mayfield, and the Seattle Seahawks to me are definite stock up after week 2. Moving on to stock down, it's unfortunate because he definitely the way he was criticized was just absolutely out of line, and you know it was a big talking point, and maybe we forgot about it because it was on Thursday, but Alexander Mattison had himself an absolute stinker on Thursday night against the Eagles. Fumbled the ball twice. I think he only
so
lost
many
it once.
drops.
The thing is,
not that I have him in fantasy or anything.
Well, I definitely do as well on a couple teams, but it's like the backfield is his.
How much is that the whole line though, Chris?
It's a decent amount.
It's horrendous, man.
The line's not great. They did just sign Dalton Reisner yesterday, who's been on the Broncos. So
our Vikings insider.
Yes, absolutely. I got you. So yeah, I mean the line should be a little bit improved, but and you know what? The line did allow the most negative rushes in the NFL last year.
Has nothing to do with the drops though.
It wasn't great. But you know, yeah, Alexander Mattison, it's his background. I'm sorry, his backfield is wide open for him to take over. And the fact that he just hasn't been able to produce through 2 weeks has been incredibly disappointing.
Sell.
Yeah, so sell on Alexander Mattison. Number 2 on my stock down list. This is Nate. You did a good job.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
This is pretty
feels
good
like finance.
Yeah.
This feels like finance. Good job, Seth.
Sometimes I think of something and I don't know how to translate it to words.
Did you type in financial music on YouTube?
I did it first.
Okay. Number 2 for stock down for me, Broncos country. It's looking bleak. I mean, a loss to the Raiders in week 1. You're looking at week 2. You're like, okay, hopefully we can bounce back. You know, we're playing the Commanders, not the toughest team in the NFL. Sure, they won their week 1 matchup. But that was against the Cardinals, and not really much to write home about for there. The Broncos, I mean, they were a 50-yard Hail Mary and a failed 2-point conversion. Like, that game wasn't close. The fact that the Commanders
put that game away.
Commanders scored 35 points on the Broncos defense, and that the defense is supposed to be the strong suit of that team.
And I talked about it. This is not on Sean Payton because if you look at the first half stats for Russell Wilson, when Payton has his hands most in it, they're incredible. And then when it comes down to Russell Wilson doing it, the numbers are really bad. So, I mean, needless to say, the amount of power and money they gave Peyton, I mean, they did give up a ton for Wilson, and I know that they're hoping that it can work together. But Peyton was very upset, called out the defense and the quarterback play in the second half. Definitely a stock down there because that was a game that you had to have. And that's
terrible.
That's one of my stock ups, actually, is the Washington Commanders, soon to be renamed again.
Should be.
2-0. And Rivera is like a cockroach.
Yes.
You cannot kill the guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, for them to start off at NFC East, 3 2-0 teams, the only 1-1 team is the Giants.
Yeah. Shout out Eric Bieniemy as well, who's got that Commanders offense looking pretty decent, even with Sam Howell running the show.
100%.
And my last stock down, I hate to talk about it, but health. I mean, it just feels like across the league, so many random injuries. We're only through 2 weeks. Got Saquon Barkley out, Nick Chubb last night.
Started with Aaron Rodgers and Achilles.
Austin Eckler missed week 2. Anthony Richardson hasn't been able to finish both of his first 2 games.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, his injury. There's just been so many things that have happened.
Did you say Saquon Barkley last night?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Saquon started it off, and it's been disappointing, especially this early in the season. It's just not what you want to see. And, obviously you're wishing everybody to be in full health, but it just feels like so many stars already have gone down with injury, and you just hate to see it. And it just sucks. It's a constant reminder that football is it's a violent sport.
Yeah.
Nobody's health is guaranteed in this game.
It's a contact sport. I'm going to round this out just with a little Raiders tie-in for the Raiders fans out here. I'm going to go stock down New Orleans Saints. Despite being undefeated, that was an ugly game.
It was really ugly.
If you had any fantasy players on the Panthers or the Saints, that was ugly. But despite being 2-0, I mean, that division is it's unbelievable. They have 3 2-0 teams too, and I think that is for the Saints to lose. I think they will end up taking it. But Carr does not look like he's done any improvement from his time. I mean, he's got happy feet. He's the opposite of Brock Purdy. He is not cool as a cucumber. He does not step up in the pocket. So despite being 2-0, remember we were doing the which 2-0 teams should not feel great, which 0-2 teams should still have faith. I have them as a very unconfident 2-0, if you can be that.
Absolutely agree.
All right, coming up next, we will check in with Whitey Gleason. What do they have on deck for you from 2 to 6? You're listening to Zakariah and Watkins right here, Sactown Sports, 1140.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides 24/7 compassionate support and connection to trained counselors. When you call, text, or chat 988, you'll be quickly connected to trained counselors who will listen to your concerns, provide support, and connect you to additional resources if needed. There is hope. The Lifeline works. You are not alone. For 24/7 support, just call, text, or chat 988.
It's the model year-end sales event at Acura of Stockton. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Lease a new Acura RDX or MDX. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton or AcuraofStockton.com, where precision crafted performance is at your fingertips.
Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Yes, it is. Coming up top of the hour, stay tuned, won't you? It is Whitey and Gary Sharp out of town. What is the state again? I have forgotten already. Omaha.
Omaha!
There we go.
That's not a state, though.
You guys sounded like you were in the same room yesterday. Oh, no, I mean, that's what leads me to knowing this.
Right.
I know that Omaha's not a state. I'm bad at geography, but not that bad. Anyways, welcome on back. Chris Watkins, Zakariah, Sactown
What state are we
Sports.
talking about then?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay, there you go.
Boom. Yeah.
Boom. Can't let him off the hook.
I also am known for being made fun of because I thought Japan was closer to New York than California.
Oh.
You thought Japan was closer to New York. Yeah, that's not great.
I basically thought that everything was closer to New York than
You know what, though? Look at Jared Goff when they were on Hard Knocks. He literally did not know the sun rose in the east. Remember?
See, that's
And
terrible.
look,
Everybody
but
knows
look,
that phrase.
He's doing okay for himself.
That's true. Yes, he is. Especially if you've seen his
the elite
fiancé.
passer that is. Jared
Stop it. That cut doesn't exist. I know.
What's up, Whitey? What's cracking? What do you guys got on deck? Did you make there was a lot of hoopla over last night. People very much complaining about the 2 games at one time. As if there's not 7 games going on at one time. It's on Sunday at 10 a.m.
Well, we get 2 more next Monday also. So, yeah, I could do
Take
just
any
one.
issue with it?
I prefer to have more games on Sunday. But at the same time, it's like, okay. I mean, thank goodness we didn't just have that first game. It wasn't especially entertaining, in my view.
Yeah.
You are the veteran.
Sure.
I am the second
77
veteran.
years old.
He's the rook.
Yeah.
And I ask you this because I've been wondering this for years. For us, it's 10 a.m. and 1 p.m., whatever, 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock for the East Coasters. Why do they not spread those games out evenly? Why are there 15 games at 10 a.m. and 2 games at 1 p.m.? Why don't they do 6 and 6? You have an answer for that?
It has to do with the audience metrics. And I think also some of those later games, you have your networks pay you more money, so you don't want as much competition. It's like, we're giving you this money for
more people
Cowboys,
watching.
whatever.
Gotcha.
So if we're giving you that much money, we want to make sure there's not as much.
It's more
It's
exclusive.
a
No,
time
that's a good
zone
answer.
thing too, right?
I
Like
think
West,
so.
they put like Chargers games and Niners games and Broncos games afternoon because there's less teams on the West Coast than there on the East.
It seems
or-
like that. That's true.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's fewer and fewer late games, and there you sometimes now it's like 2 late games or 3 late.
Yeah,
games.
it's really weird. I think there was 4 this weekend, and it just, I mean, it's fine. It's what I don't really think about it much, but it is like
Takes
it
the
is
air out of
strange.
red zone.
Definitely does. Yeah, it's like, okay, we're cutting to this game. Okay, all 4 games are actually at commercial right now.
Yeah. Where do you stand on the Adam Schefter? I give him a pass because I think he's a guy that's got to get to it quick. Although, Chris, did you say that it was 15 minutes after it happened?
It was something like that.
Because
I mean,
that's enough
off
time.
memory.
That's enough time to be able to word it correctly. But he put the injury that he had a long time ago ahead of just saying that he hurt his knee. And a lot of people said you should have led with that because people look to Schefter for breaking news. Whitey, do you give him a pass or are you a tough teacher like Chris is?
Just get the information out there. Yeah, he probably should have been a little better.
So just
Your
for
hashtag do
reference
better
sake,
also.
So Adam Schefter put out at 6:09. Nick Chubb is carted off to the locker room, and then at 6:26, so almost 20 minutes later, he did the Nick Chubb dislocated his left knee, every bone in his knee and leg, and they put that tweet out. So he had like 20 minutes to kind of get that wording.
Okay, that's worse than if he was trying to get ahead of the story or whatever.
Yes.
And he probably should have people that he runs it by. I did not like Whitey. I'm not sure where you stand
You did
on
not
this.
like
but
Whitey? What did I do now?
Okay, again, I phrased it wrong. I did not like, Whitey, when Adam Schefter sent the story to one of the Washington football team's executives and said, "Does this look good?" before he posted it, essentially telling him that if there was anything in there that he didn't like, he would edit it.
Well, you know how it works. I get this, I'll put this out for you, and then you give me a little something. I mean, what did he tweet about Bosa last week? I have to think that Bosa really wanted to get in there, and that was a key to this deal. So I would think that Bosa's camp says, you put that out there, and then, we got a little something for you down the road when you need it.
Yeah, I understand.
Pro quo.
That's how it goes.
Right?
Yeah.
I did want to say this because my mother, who is number one listener of Zakariah, one of the 11, she
up to 11 now.
Wow.
She loves that you taught your daughter how to keep score. My mom was those parents. It was more because of nervousness. It kept her calm. I still have box scores from my, youth baseball league games, and it's a really cool thing to do at the ballpark. I mean, people talk about how it's slow and they've sped it up or whatever, but teaching how to take a box score is awesome, and she loved that.
Yeah, good.
That you did that. I showed her the whole thing. Yeah,
she kept saying, I'd say, all right, go. And she said, I don't know how to do it. But then she did. And every time I would forget, she'd go, that's F7. You're going to write that down. So I think she was further ahead of the game than I thought. She thought it was harder. I'd like F7 or single. And she'd ask, don't you have to put a line indicating where the ball went? And it's like, well, you can, but you don't You don't have to. I think it was simpler than she thought. Actually,
she's trying to be a scout.
Yeah,
when you're tracking where the ball's going, that's deep analytics right there.
Can I tell you a scout story real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
We went to a game in San Diego once, and it was me, my 2 daughters, and my wife. And we're sitting. We got our tickets from somebody we knew who worked for the Pirates. So we're sitting up there, and there's this guy next to us sitting. Well, it's part of the story.
It's a nice flex.
Yeah. From
Humble brag.
Jesse Flores from Sacramento.
Mhm.
So anyway, this guy's in front of us, and he's keeping score. And my wife says, "Hey, I think that guy's a scout." And I was looking at him, and he had Birkenstocks with socks on. And I was like, he just doesn't look like a scout to me. And she's like, I think he's a scout. So he's keeping score. So he's right in front of me. So I lean over to see, and he's not even keeping score. He's writing like, "Wow, good throw and good one." And I said, "Hey, not a scout. He's not a scout."
Wait, he was just doing that for fun?
He didn't know how to keep score, but he had a scorecard. Right?
Yeah.
Good hit.
No, gotcha.
Nice catch.
Yeah. My favorite is PU. Because not only is it pop-up, PU, whatever number that it went to, but also it's perfect because a pop-up is like PU. It stinks. I like that.
Yeah.
But I brought that up because you were at the stadium, the Oakland Coliseum. So
What's
we were
left
talking
of it?
Yeah. I know. Believe me, I know.
But they want it to look that way.
Of course.
They want it to look
The worse,
yeah.
the more, they push towards getting a new one. What are your favorite and least? I don't know how many ballparks you've been to or how many stadiums you've been to, but any sport, just off the top of your head, ones that you love and or hate.
All, but since you ask, I've never seen one nicer than Oracle.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Dodger Stadium to me is overrated.
Huge though. It's just massive.
It's just so hard to get. And I know it's historic and all
That's
that.
all it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting. You guys were talking about this. They built Golden One, and then of course the Warriors going to do Chase. And I thought, it's too bad the Kings so much got this
Give
right.
us
Then
this
the Warriors
moment,
will top them, and they did not.
Chase Center is terrible.
Chase did not top
it.
Very
I hate
corporate.
it so much.
Yeah. I was telling him, I think there's a beautiful balance between it being new, state of the art, beautiful, and also still having the feel.
It has character.
Because I went to Chase, and I wasn't even sitting where like the rich people sat, and it still felt very corporate.
Yeah. It's not terrible or anything. It's just
no.
Okay.
No.
Everything special about that arena, or a lot of the things that are special, are behind the scenes.
For sure.
Yeah.
But they did build it, as me and Chris were talking about. And the first time I remember doing that was when I was with my father when it first came, Oracle or Pac Bell or whatever it used to be when I actually went there.
Pac Bell Park?
Yeah. They're building it like this so that you're almost like overseeing it as opposed to building it like straight out. So even if you're in a terrible seat at Chase Center, one of the good parts of it
vertical
is
more.
Exactly. Yeah. So that it's more like you're overseeing it than you're like far away.
That's what they
from
did
it.
at Golden One. Remember, initially people complained like, "There's no room. I don't
Yes.
have any room," and
Especially
there's no
in the
seat
upper deck.
holders.
It's
Because Arco
sketchy.
2, it had its drawbacks, but you had a lot of room in that place.
Yeah.
Aisles were big, and so it was an adjustment for Sacramento.
Have you been to either Wrigley or Fenway?
Not to a game. I've been by. I've been by.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I went to
Fenway.
Wrigley.
I won't tell you what I did. But
Yeah, it's like there looks like there's a lot longer
Actually,
story there.
that's going to be my
Your
first
facial
question when we turn the
expression.
microphones off. I went to Wrigley and I was behind a pole, and I was telling him I was either moving my head to the left or the right. I switched off.
Obstructed view.
And they say it's even worse. I haven't been to Fenway, but I have been to Wrigley. They say it's even worse at Fenway, but they don't care because it's Fenway and they, whatever. So you deal with it. I think the people that know the stadium know not to get those tickets. I was one of the suckers that bought one for Wrigley.
Not necessarily from like an environment standpoint, but just from the arena. And I know Oracle ended up getting some nice facelifts towards the end there. But where would you put Oracle versus Sleep Train Golden One? Or I'm sorry, Sleep Train / Arco.
You mean the Oracle where they used to play in
Yes,
Oakland?
Oracle. Yes,
compared
Oracle
to-
Arena.
Yeah, compared to what
Sleep
doesn't compare to
Train,
Golden
Arco.
One.
Yeah, no, not Golden One. But
Arco
in
is-
terms of
yeah.
both
Yeah.
teams' old barns.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oracle ended up being much nicer, but
Right.
Sleep Train just had a real, there's a lot of wood in there.
Yes.
You watch on TV, is that wood?
Right.
And so it conducted sound really well.
Do you know if it's true that there was like I think I remember hearing U2 pretty much said they're never going to play. They
Early
were never,
on, it was a big problem. That was before I came up here. I
just
think,
because
but
like the rattling
acoustics
of the
were so bad that early on in the existence of the building, a lot of people said, "Oh, yeah, acoustics are terrible.
That's
I think they
ridiculous.
addressed that.
So they built it specifically in mind for basketball.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe
Or it was a shoddy building. Who knows?
Yeah. I did. When I caught a game up there, they called it a barn, and I really got. And I didn't even know about this tunnel thing. I love that it led to nothing.
Clown Cave.
tunnel.
Yeah.
Clown Cave. Yeah.
Yes.
I was asking our fine producer, Seth MacFarlane. I was like, "So what's behind that wall?" And he's like, "I'm pretty sure it's just earth."
Yeah.
But they had plans for it, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I was
baseball
actually,
stadium, yeah.
I don't know if I played in it, but they had a baseball game out there one day on the field where they were going to build the baseball stadium. Some reporters were out there with hard balls. I remember Greg Lukenbill was catching, and he with a hard ball, he didn't have a mask on. I was like,
owner of the
yes!
team. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And he's fine. He knew what he was doing, but I'll
Yeah.
never forget that. I was like, whoa, you might want to put a protective mask on
Yeah.
there. But it was fine.
Yeah.
But that never, and he had an agreement for some major league teams to play exhibition games in Sacramento,
Mhm.
but it never came to fruition because they didn't build the place.
Lots of things do not. Is there a worse contract in sports right now than Deshaun Watson's, Whitey?
All things considered, no. And what a terrible trade, right? All things considered
Horrible.
again. Yeah,
Yeah.
what they gave up, what they're paying him, how he's playing, the stigma, awful.
The only
Awful.
quarterback that's been worse since he came back to playing is Zach Wilson. And that's like, I forget the number, 36 or whatever. It's awful. There's like names on there that you wouldn't believe it. And here's the thing. He pointed it out astutely. It's 100% true. On both sides of it, it's what Cleveland had to do because of how bad of a rap Cleveland has. There was no way he was getting him outside of them doing a ridiculous precedent of guaranteeing him that much money.
Yeah. Given
And-
the issues he had, they should have just said, yeah, we're.
But they're Cleveland and they're like, this is our opportunity to get a guy that would otherwise never come here.
That's true. That's true.
And Cleveland's got to be up there with
Made their
most
bed.
cursed
I
franchises.
can't believe you didn't like the white helmets and the white throwbacks.
I did not.
Awesome.
I
Are
know.
they throwbacks? They used to wear white helmets?
Technically, I think they are. That's why it said like 1946 on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they are.
I think it's definitely an improvement over brown and orange. I don't know who put that color scheme together, but
Did you know that they actually had a logo, a CB, and they had a
What?
mock-up for it, and they had artwork for it? They never wore it. But
Yeah.
you can look it up. They actually had a CB logo that was going to go on the side of the helmet, and they just never actually put it on the helmet.
Okay.
It's pretty
It's better than the elf. I don't understand what the elf is doing
I-
at midfield.
I know. I'm with you.
Very confusing.
Yeah.
Just a
I'm
weird
guessing you're not
franchise.
going to cover it a ton, but I was telling him one of the worst 2-0 teams has to be the New Orleans Saints. I know that division's up for grabs, but
Quite
even
a
though there's
division.
3 teams that are 2-0.
Yeah.
But Carr,
Everybody's 2-0 and
Carr's happy feet. I mean, Raiders fans watched that game probably similar to Niners fans watching Jimmy G and just thought,
Yeah.
like, the good riddance.
Well, we got the fraud squad out today, and they're going to be
Fraud
looking-
squad.
Yeah. So
Yay.
we'll see. We'll
I
be
like
taking a
that.
hard look at those Nolan Saints.
I like
Ooh,
it.
okay.
All right. Well, make sure you stay tuned. It is Whitey with Gary Sharp, who's out of town, but didn't sound like it. I got to be honest. It sounded like you guys were right. A state, right? For Chris Watkins and the wonderful Seth MacFarlane behind the glass, the famous Nathan is great then. I am Zachariah. You've been listening to Sactown Sports 1140. Holla!
What's the latest with the San Francisco 49ers? Carmichael